Welcome to the Mighty Nerd Podcast, the only podcast where we never pee when we poop. I am FistTruck, and I'm joined by my buddies, HeyyyyyTony, with 5 Y's in the hey and not the Tony, and Solid Snarf with the Solid Snarf. Welcome.
How does one not pee when they poop?
You tell me. We're the podcast where we don't pee when we poop.
That just seems logistically impossible. I don't know.
Why are you getting logistics involved? You you hit up UPS whenever you take a shit?
Yo, man, if I want to mail it to you, motherfucker. All
fucking right. Express mail this dookie to someone else's house. Today we are talking about Sea of Stars after a long hiatus. We got our asses, or at least I think Tony, you played through it before, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But Snarf and I got our asses around to playing the game, and and we have a lot to say about it because it's a lot of game to talk about. Contrary to how we had things structured in our Sifu episode, we're kind of gonna go at it more just general story gameplay as opposed to like level by level, because this game goes to a lot of places very quickly. So we're gonna more generalize some shit, but it's still probably gonna be a very, very lengthy talk about what was 2023's I guess kind of indie critical darling, right?
Yeah.
So first, I guess to bring up that Sea of Stars was developed or it came out last year being 2023, created by a studio called Sabotage Studio, who before this, I think I don't know how many things they made, but I know for a fact they made The Messenger.
It's only that.
Yeah. So it was they made The Messenger, which is kind of like a Ninja Gaiden, like one half Ninja Gaiden, like old Ninja Gaiden, and one half Metroidvania.
Yeah.
By all accounts, I didn't play it that much, to be honest. I played it for maybe about like an hour. Thought it was solid, but you know when you just play shit that is good, but then you don't finish it because you just don't feel like it. That's kind of what that game was for me. So
I didn't finish it because it left Xbox Game Pass before I could finish it. I was like, it said leaving soon. The Messenger was like, I always wanted to get to that, so I bum rushed as much as I could. It was like literally I saw it and it was going away at midnight, and I was like, I can dedicate the next 12 hours to this game, and I couldn't because I can only take games in short spurts nowadays.
Unless it's Destiny.
Destiny, Destiny is a different beast.
Developed by Sabotage Studio, came out last year being 2023. It was a Kickstarter game, which you definitely find out when you're playing the game. And you happen to venture into the crypt and try and get to the end of it, and then kind of go like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Fuck this shit. I'm out.
I did look up what happens at the crypt.
Oh, I didn't bother. I didn't look up but anyway, it's a game kind of in the style of Super Nintendo JRPGs. The developer cited inspirations being I think primary ones being Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, definitely Chrono Trigger, and I forget the third one. But if I look at Wikipedia, it might tell me. I don't know. I'm not gonna look at it. So there's mainly Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
That is apparent almost immediately when you start playing it, because it has that same kind of where you're trying to time the blocks, or you got to hit the button at the right time, or hold the button and let go of it at the right time in the middle of combat to either attack or defend. The same way they had in Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario, or more recently, Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
Just going quickly, kind of just brushing over the Wikipedia. The main composer was a guy by the name of Eric Brown, which I think is a safe assumption call that the soundtrack in this game is really fucking good. It's really fucking good.
I can see that.
Eric Brown.
And on top of that, there was a handful of tracks, I think primarily for some boss fights, if I'm not mistaken. I know for a fact also spoilers for Sea of Stars. If you clicked on a Sea of Stars video on YouTube and aren't expecting spoilers and you're this far down the rabbit hole, shame on you. So the original composer of Chrono Trigger, Yasunori Mitsuda.
Yep. Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, a bunch of other games like old school.
Yeah. I think, like I said, I think he contributed some boss tracks. I know for a fact, or I'm pretty sure it was like the like last boss. He did that one because that one had like some fucking like I don't know if it was actual guitar or like, you know, MIDI guitar type shit, but you know, it had that distinct sound of ye olden.
So the one that I looked up was you know, when you're going down those waterfalls in like the Coral Canyon type thing. Yeah, right before you meet the not the archivist, the librarian lady in that area. That's he contributed to that soundtrack.
You mean the guy that's telling your story?
Oh, the Alchemist dude. Oh, that one. Oh, you mean
the
water?
No, not the
Alchemist.
About the water. The pink-haired lady where you put her in your backpack.
Teeks.
Yeah.
Talking about Teeks.
My bad.
Teeks. Yeah, so he did that one. And they're, you know, it's crazy. Like, you make a game and you're inspired by games of old, like specifically Chrono Cross, specifically Chrono Trigger, and specifically Paper Mario, and you get the guy that worked on music for like those old games to guest star in a couple of tracks. It's cool. The thing that little irksome. It's totally not to take away for all of Yasunori Mitsuda's accomplishments, but he only worked on like 4 songs, and when you type in like Sea of Stars composer, he's the only one that comes up, and you have to search for Eric W. Brown.
Oh, that's fucked up.
So I was like, what was the original name of the guy in the interview that I saw? And I was typing in Sea of Stars composer and say Yasunori Mitsuda. I was like, what? No, wait, where's the actual composer? And it was like, Yasunori Mitsuda. And I was like, fuck, where is he? And then I had to go back to the interview, and then I saw his name because he was talking in the interview, Eric Brown. You know who the fuck Eric Brown is?
A white guy.
He is the drummer for Necrogoblicon.
Oh, that's what you said. Oh, okay. Oh, that's crazy.
I don't know who that is.
I'm not surprised you don't know, because anybody that I've ever known in my whole life, I've only known 2 people that have ever heard of Necrogoblicon. It's a gimmick band. Their lead singer, it's like screamo, but their mascot is a goblin.
It's
like goblin lyrics.
But I mean, the singer does all the vocals, right? It's just like the goblin in the music videos and on
Goblin's
stage.
A gimmick,
like, yeah, he just kind of like dances around and shit. But it's funny. Some of it's solid. I like some of it.
So apparently, like Eric Brown started out just all of his drumming to take on tour. He used SNES, Game Boy, and old school hardware to sample all of those and use them in his songs. And like when he started traveling like on tour, he didn't bring a drum set. He just used the original hardware to play on, because he was like, oh, that's easier to play on than this. But you know, now they're actual touring band and they're able to get funding to get all their drums across. But like so when I saw that, I was like, why does he look familiar? I was like, oh shit. that was like far out of left field. Yeah,
I had no clue.
Because the way that the guy that made this game, I forgot his name, if you can find it, but the way he built his team, he worked at a studio before where he was a game programmer, like a mechanics programmer, and he wanted to be a game designer, and he went to like his boss and was like, hey, can I go to this role? And he's like, you can put in some more time here. And then he was already there for 8 years. And he was like, fuck this. I'm starting my own company, The Messenger. He did The Messenger with a couple of friends. And then he poached a bunch of people that he used to work with to work on this game at his new company. So it's like, this guy's been in the weeds for a while and perfecting his craft on other people's games, and he was like, "Fuck it, I'm doing my own shit." And thank God he did, because this game's tight.
Yeah, it's tight. It's tight. It's not perfect, but yeah, it's tight. It's So I guess we go. Oh, the guy's name is, and I'm gonna butcher this. Thierry Boulanger, something like that.
Thierry Boulanger.
I know they're. I know for a fact they're. Like, even before I looked it up, I was like, oh, these guys have to be French Canadian or something. Yeah, because there's a character, there's an NPC that's like this dude chilling on a fucking like a floaty or something like that. And he speaks French. He's the only character in the game that speaks a different language.
maybe I missed that because I didn't even see that.
There's a lot of shit to miss.
Yeah. And then the best food item in the game is poutine. And when I saw poutine was like, oh, heals fully and all this shit, I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this the best thing? These guys must be Canadian. And I looked it up and they were French Canadian. I'm like, knew it.
Yeah.
So I guess or I'm gonna maybe start going into like the story. I'm just gonna go do like a very brief overview, and I mean very fucking brief overview of the plot, or at least like the
Did you talk about
notes?
the publishers
themselves?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, the Messenger was originally, the publisher was Devolver, and Devolver wanted to publish them for this game, but they're like, nah, let's go our own way, and they ended up like they got a deal with this. It's not a publishing company; it's like an investment company. What's the name? Kowloon Knights. So Kowloon Knights, what they do is they have a fund for games, like game developers, and they'll fund the games, and all the revenue and everything is controlled by the game developer. It's just they pay the investors royalties, right? So instead of the publisher upfronting everything, getting control of everything, and paying out the developer, it's now the developer paying out royalties to whoever the investor is. Yeah. And like these guys, legit. A whole shit ton of games you don't know about, but specifically Sifu. They funded Sifu. They funded what was the other one? Roller Drome. And
Roller Drome sucked ass. I'm sorry.
Hey. Man.
I felt like Roller Drome was, and this is a total aside, I felt like it was a good game that I didn't like. Personally,
I think
it's a good game. I like, and also rest in peace to the developer.
The developer died.
Yeah, to Take-Two shut them down right around the same time that Microsoft.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And they funded Scorn.
Hot take.
What's up?
Nope, won't do it.
I know. I literally said Tony's favorite game. I knew what I was doing. No. Not like I just said that out of nowhere. It's like,
some things must die, so we must be reborn in the future. So I
mean, a lot of people love that game. I'm gonna step the fuck away from that.
God, that's funny.
Ollie World is pretty solid.
Ollie World's solid. But and they did, of course, Kickstarter funding, so they did all that. So it's just there are different options than just getting a publisher and then getting bought out by a fucking studio and then put out to the pasture.
Going down the traditional route. Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how you're gonna sum this game's.
Oh, I'm gonna super sum it up. I mean, this is like.
All right, give me.
This right here is like all that I.
All right, cool.
Because I didn't want to this is just the premise.
Right.
Okay. And then we could go into the specifics after this. All right. So essentially, there's a dude called Fleshmancer. He's bad. Dumbass name. I'm not going to get stuck on that. He creates a thing called Dwellers. Dumbass name. I'm not going to get stuck on that. Dwellers become world eaters if they chill around for too long. Dumbass name. I'm not going to get stuck on that. And then essentially your characters, Zale and Valere, are Solstice warriors who are, essentially the chosen ones, who are the only ones who are capable of fighting these dwellers. This kind of repeats through a bunch of parallel universes, and that's it.
You didn't even mention the main character. What?
I did. Oh no! Oh no! That's
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. So
I mentioned the protagonist. I may not have mentioned the main character.
So did anybody else when playing this game just get that feeling of the chosen ones just popping up constantly? That just that statement constantly. You're the chosen. It
Well, I
popped
mean,
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, I guess it was very much baked into the game's, like lore and shit. So when they said it, I was, I think it made sense.
But like to that point, a lot of stuff happens. Seems
that's
conveniently.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's stupid to say because like you're playing main characters, you're playing a story, you're playing an RPG, but like some certain shit just happens without any basis for it. And it's just
so
it's just put there for a thing.
I just want to get through I mean, we could get through just some bits.
Yeah, I mean, we'll explore
I've
it.
been
When you
holding
bring
off.
it up, I'll fucking come in.
Yeah. Aside from talking shit about the names of some things, I'm like holding off on critiques because this game's story sucks. But like, there's
It doesn't suck. It's fine. It's baby's first RPG. It's fine.
okay. All right. So I broke it down into 10 parts. There's a lot more shit that goes on in this game. There's one thing that I think this game's really good at is not at the beginning, but after a certain point, I think the pacing's really good.
The pacing got really good.
Because they just keep you going from somewhere to like you're just like once you start going, you don't stop. The problem is it takes forever to fucking start, but still.
Yeah.
So first you start with the protagonist. Your 2 blocks of tofu are walking around, and they're Zale and Valera.
The blue one and the red one. Yeah. Blue one and the
or orange, I guess. Yeah. They're it's like a training bit. That's where you kind of start off. They're kids. Well, for like a very brief bit, but really, you're doing your training shit. You're ready to take on your adventure. You go there and you meet the main character, Garl.
Yeah, the main
The fact
character.
that y'all are calling him the main character.
He's the only one that
agree
talks.
with us.
He's the
If
only
you-
one
Yeah, I
that
know.
has
Yeah,
personality.
So from there, pretty much you have a bunch of stuff that happens. You have a bunch of stuff that happens, and you go fight the first actual bad guy or bad thing called the Dweller of Woe. Your mentors, once you defeat them, betray you, even though this was supposed to, whatever. And
Brugave.
yeah, Brugo Chavez and Erlina. And,
Brugo Chavez.
Brugave.
they betray you.
Yeah.
They were setting it up to that point, but I really don't want to get into the weeds about the plot until we start really critiquing it.
Brugaves and Erlina are solstice warriors. They're just your elders, and
they were kind of like they were your mentors.
yeah, and then like as they're defeating the final dweller, they say, I don't want to be fighting dwellers for the rest of
this anymore.
I don't feel like doing this anymore. And there's the whole plot of like just, they give up and then they fucking turn to the bad side and bring back everything that was dead and all the progress was gone. It's like,
yeah, even though, well, it turned out that they knew, but your characters didn't know, was that there was another dweller.
Right.
Who was impossible and no one can handle fighting him. So obviously you show up and kick his ass, but whatever. So you go afterwards. We go from that to the dweller that they brought back, which was the Dweller of Strife. You go through a fight. You don't win. And the main character takes an L. That is like what I would say, maybe first half, not first half, a little more than that. Pretty much after that, you do fulfill main character's dying wishes. Go to Cybertron.
oh shit. That's your whole first part?
Yeah,
That whole thing is what you consider the first part?
No. The first part I would consider up until like you actually go fight the Dweller of Woe. I meant like first half, like
Yeah.
I would call that a first half too.
Yeah,
The Dweller of Woe.
a little more
obviously.
than half. So afterwards, you go to Cybertron.
Yeah.
Then and I'm super blasting through this. Just following the arc that we're gonna talk about. Okay. I'm not I'm not.
This is the table of contents. So
yeah, I'm not leaving it at this. You go to Cybertron, and then afterwards you go. Essentially, you show up to Cybertron. You go through a bunch of shit, do a bunch of shit just to get to the fucking evil Fleshmancer's castle. Then you do the fake ending, and then you do a fucking stupid dog shit, fucking dumbass baby bitch, fucking esoteric side quests to unlock the true ending, and then you get the true ending, which made me want to fucking yell at somebody because it's so fucking contrived. Like, I like this game. 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Did you, Tony? Did you get the true ending? No, okay.
Didn't bother. But when somebody said, "Well, I was in the Discord with someone and we playing and I beat it," I
want to leave it a surprise for tomorrow.
And somebody said, "Did you get the true ending?" I was like, "No, I got this ending." He was like, "You should get the true ending." I said, "Nah, I'm all right."
I don't think I should.
I don't think. Yeah, all right. Yeah. I'm okay.
So Fist is the only one that knows the true ending at this moment. I beat the game and then, I didn't have enough time to go back. I will go back and unlock true ending. Maybe, possibly.
But you might not.
But I did look up a video. I looked up a video of the ending, of the true ending, and I'm completely lost. I'm completely lost. It didn't make any sense to me.
We want to tell us what the true ending is?
Well, we can take it back a bit.
And
kind of go step by step now that I kind of just like Omega Dodeca Spark Notes through this shit.
Okay.
And then I'll trust me. I've been like building up for this.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I'm sure after this, like my heart problems will disappear. I'm kidding. My heart's fine. I'm good. So I guess we start at the beginning. So the whole training bit, pretty much here you run into, or you meet the protagonist, Zale and Valere. One's Zale's the sun dude, Valere's the moon chick. They have a friend named Garl. Garl. He cooks. He's also their best bud. He has
no powers.
Well, he has the power. He does have a power that they lack. It's called having a fucking personality.
Oh, fair enough.
So, they kind of get a little ballsy for children. Wander into this cave, and one of the monsters in this cave, which are like these unicorn slimes, is about to hit Zale in the back, and Garo, being the main character, actually does something about it and takes the hit. And so his eye gets poked out or some shit like that. Yeah. And it was pretty intense. I was just like, whoa, like, because they had the little sprite work, and he's just like, my eye. And I'm like, oh, wow, hey, look at that.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of wipe that shit off and then really never talk about it ever again. And then it's a training montage, kind of, until you eventually do your trials. You fight the first boss, which might as well have been a fucking cookie clicker. And then
then you fight to Chrono Trigger's final boss. It was just, it looked exactly the same.
The slug.
Yeah,
that's like the
slug.
Third boss.
The boss in the cave.
Yeah, but that's the third boss.
Oh, okay.
The first boss was like some golem type thing. The second boss was the Elder Mist, and the third boss was the slug.
Yeah.
The boss that you see again. That they palette swap, and it's the name of the achievement is that the boss palette swap. That's fine. This game has, like, as an aside, this game has, like, surprisingly for a JRPG, like a smidge of palette swapped enemies. It's crazy how many unique enemies are in this game.
You can notice,
I actually took that to basically felt like it was good for this game, because there's a lot of games that when you play them, as you go deeper, let me change the color of this enemy.
Tales of Arise.
Tales of Arise. Yeah, they did that badly. Very badly. Let me change the color of this enemy, change the element, and be like, oh, it's harder now, not just a different enemy. Which
not
sucks.
only that, it's the literal next area.
Right.
Like, yeah, you saw wolves. Prepare to see ice wolf, then fucking grass wolf,
and now grass
fucking
wolf,
dirt wolf, or something. And then you're at like the spoilers for Tales of Arise. You get to the fucking end. You're on a different world. Cyber wolf. Like what the fuck? Or alien wolf. Yeah, this game does not have any of that. It's crazy.
Games they have a bad habit of cycling fucking enemies, and I appreciated this game for different types of enemies, for different combat, etc. But
thing I will say about that in particular, like when you strip the game down, like no visuals, no anything, and you just go to attacks, like you're at wireframes and you just go, the attack is ba ba ba. There's a lot of those moves that stylistically they look completely different, but they're the same attack. So like when you're the way the system works is when somebody attacks you, you have to time your block so you take less damage, and when you do an attack, you time your attack so you do more damage. So it's like, I think specifically there was this enemy with a shuriken on his back, and it hits all three of you. Goes,
the really big thing.
Yeah. It's on 4 legs with a thing on its back. That thing, and then there was one magic dude that sends out flames. Pretty much, it's the same timing attack. It's just visually different.
Yeah, visually different.
Yeah. So they put a lot of effort into like making doing a lot with the little that they had. Is what I'm saying.
I appreciate this game for the combat, because a lot of turn-based games, the combat is very simple. Well, I wouldn't say very simplistic, but simplistic enough to where, hey, press X or press A to attack. Yeah. Or press A for a skill. This game, you gotta at least interact when you fighting the enemies. And the reason I say that is it's almost like The Legend of Dragoon. Whenever you go up, like additions from The Legend of Dragoon, whenever you're going up to actually do an attack, when you do it, you hit the button at the same time to actually either do more damage or increase the attack power or whatever you're doing. I could appreciate that. And for you guys that didn't know, whenever you're playing this game, there are little secret things that you could do to make your attacks better, heal more. Like I didn't know that you do certain combo attacks that heal, and if you press the button at the right time, you get a greater heal. Like I got halfway through the fucking game, and someone came in and be like, "Hey, did you know you could heal more?" What the fuck is you talking about?
Yeah.
Garl's cooking pot.
After the credits rolled for me, I learned you could absorb more than one ball of magic.
What?
You know when you hold like right trigger and A and you get a strong, like you absorb whatever. I learned after the credits rolled that I could absorb more than one. I'm like, wow, I'm a fucking idiot.
You've only been doing one at a time?
I most of the time I left them on the ground, which is something I'm going to touch on later because there's a lot to say about gameplay. But
Shit, I forgot what I was about to say. Fuck it, continue.
Ragu. I'm trying to see if any words jog your memory. Okay.
Nah.
So
when it's gone, it's gone.
So you get past the training montage, sort of. But before any of that, your friend turns out like you may have busted your ass to get to this point as the Solstice Warriors. The main character turned out to just be hiding in a fucking bush. Where you conveniently were resting, and all of a sudden he's just like, "Hey, I'm joining you." And they're like, "Hey, he's joining us."
Yeah, and Carl.
Yeah. So fast forwarding a bit, you finish your training, get to like another island in the game. You meet like your Lord diarrhea person, Teeks, the historian type thing.
Well, you went past the Elder Mist.
Well, that's part of the training. The Elder Mist. Oh, the Elder Mist is. Oh, well, yeah. The
prophet he does the prophecies. Like those are the. Well, so pretty much the Elder Mist has a prophecy for the Solstice Warriors, and then fucking Garl is there, and he's like, "Huh."
Now I'll just give you one too.
I'll give you one too. Right. So the foreshadowing is for Sarah? What the fuck's her name? Valerie.
Sarai.
No, Valerie. Yeah, Valerie. It's you're able to create passages across water. And then we're like, oh, that's ominous. I wonder what that'll turn out to be. For Zale, you'll be able to unlock the sun or some
something.
shit.
You got to face the darkness in your heart.
Yeah, face the darkness, eternal darkness in your heart, and all that stuff. And for Garl, it was like, when the time comes, ask for the vial of time.
No, that was the one that the fish man gave him. The one he gave him was that he would soothe like a troubled heart.
Oh, he would
Right.
soothe the troubled heart. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
the fish man told him about the borrowed time thing.
Yeah, okay, so we'll get to that when that comes. So that's like, foreshadowing the important events that happen. And surprisingly, I think the longest, like the one that paid off, that took the longest to pay off was Valerie's.
What?
She was the last one, right?
I felt like that was the wackest one.
It was the wackest one, but it took the longest. Like that was the last one.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying any of them were particularly good at all.
Gotcha.
So one thing for me, like, so since we got there, the Elder Mist or whatever, are we talking about that little stint now? Can we discuss that boss?
Oh yeah, the third boss.
How did you feel about the Elder Mist? The boss that was inside the place where you.
Oh shit!
Y'all remember?
Yeah, no, I remember the boss. Now, you talking about which elder? So, I mean, potential spoiler alert for you. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So,
are you talking about the first time you fight him or the second time?
The first, I think it's the first time. Was it?
There is the second time, just in case you guys don't know.
Yeah,
it's an optional fight. The first time, that was the first boss. I mean, that was the second boss.
I died a couple of times to it. I don't know why, but for some reason, I died to him a couple of times.
Well, because he had like a counterattack that you had to learn.
The sword.
If you didn't know that he had a counterattack move, every time you hit his main face, like you would be taking half of your health immediately anyway. So I died the first time, but the second time I was like, I'm going for that counterattack fucking
It was the third time for me. I ain't beat him until the third time. That's the only boss I really had trouble with, to be honest.
A cocksucker.
The fucking boss, the boss that I had trouble with was a mob of enemies. That was it. It wasn't even a boss.
Yeah, we'll get there. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like I guess maybe we'll talk about the bosses shit maybe as we go. That might be a better structure. I didn't die in this game.
You didn't die not once.
Every fucking boss. I did everything in the game. I never saw what game over looked like until I watched his stream. I swear on my you could go and talk to an NPC and it says death count. My shit says 0.
Yeah, well done.
No, I mean I believe
could see the challenge in the game.
It's not a hard game. Like I can see somebody.
You could lose. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's just that my particular experience, I didn't die.
Yeah, and you can also get unlucky, or you can get extremely lucky also for certain things.
Yeah, kind of. It's. I want to save that conversation for later. Okay, because I definitely have like some gripes about the way the system works. But anyway, so you have the Elder Mist. He gives you the prophecies. You kind of go from there. We meet the historian Teeks, who tells you all of the information that the game should fucking tell you in the first place. Just saying. Yeah.
I mean, but also you could completely ignore it and just keep on going. Also.
Yeah, you could completely ignore it and keep going until you get to parts where they reference shit like you should already know what it is, and you're like,
yo,
what?
So this is what happened to me with Teeks. Like, so to get more stories from her, you get relics, right? Artifacts, relics, or whatever. So I got all of my artifacts and relics and all that. I didn't talk to Teeks again until I had like 4 or 5 artifacts or relics. So she still only had one story for me, and I was like, oh, I'll hand you these relics. And then 5 stories popped up. I read the stories, and then I was like, oh, that's what that cutscene was referencing. Oh, that's what that cutscene. What the fuck is a red rose, bro? What are you talking about?
The vampire rose.
The vampire rose. What the fuck is that? Oh, thank you, Teeks. It's a little bit too late.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like this is.
I didn't like that.
I didn't like it either. Like I appreciate that they have this thing. They don't want to like lore dump. But the problem is that you reference it and you talk about it in a way like I should know. And this isn't Dark Souls, motherfucker. Like, it's not.
I would say for enjoying the narrative without Teeks, I think that problem is like on the low end. Like, it's a problem, but it's not.
Yeah, but it still is a problem.
Yeah, like they reference the vampire rose or the boat. I'm like,
they go like, we need to get the Vespertine, and it's like it wasn't. If I didn't read that first lore story that they kind of like throw in your face,
I wouldn't know what it was about.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. But it was cool that I read it, and then they started talking about it. I really enjoyed that. And I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about in this world. I heard the story. This is like, it's like, I don't know, like a fable from our world. Like, I don't know. Not all right. Don't say anything from the Bible. Don't say anything political. Hold on. Jack and the Beanstalk, and then you hear somebody say, "Did you know a fucking beanstalk went up in Minnesota and a giant fell?" And I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Did you know they landed on the moon in 1967 or whatever? Sure. So yeah, like Teeks is, I guess it depends how you look at it. I think the type of storytelling it adds to the game and what it tells is not good for the game. Personally, I think there would have been better ways to go about dispensing that information than having it being optional shit that they reference like you should already know.
Right. I feel like lore should not. I feel like things that doesn't pertain to the story you can put in a codex, like certain games. Like certain games give you a codex on backstory, right? On characters or races or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like stuff that's pertinent or narrative to the actual story that you're doing at that time should be tossed off into a side, and if you don't look at it, you don't even know what the fuck's going on. I really feel like that should not have happened.
Yeah, like I shouldn't be confused in like this narrative-driven game.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
So devil's advocate, because I agree with you completely. Mm-hmm. But like think of where the Solstice Warriors and Garl grew up. Like they grew up isolated on an island, not really known in the outside world. Like maybe the first time they ever actually hear something from anybody is through Teeks. So it's like, I don't know, maybe it makes more sense than
you can make that story, you can make that imperative for them, not the person playing the game.
No.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's just really weird to go looking for lore to actually understand what the fuck you're actually doing. That doesn't make sense.
Especially considering the amount of things that happen on like some Deus Ex Machina type shit.
Oh yeah.
Where it just comes out of fucking nowhere and you're like, well, no, that's convenient.
Again, I hate to harp on a same example, but like that fucking Vampire Rose, I didn't have that lore dump beforehand, and everybody seemed to know what the fuck it was, even the main characters. And I'm like, well, what? You all know? Did I miss something? Yeah,
you did. The thing they didn't even really.
Yeah.
They should have shown you in the beginning.
Found out afterwards, and then future me looked at past me and was like, You idiot.
So I guess going on with the story. So essentially, before they set on their journey, Zale and Valera were told to meet at the Spooky Dookie Woods because the Dweller of Woe was there. Essentially, they were all going to meet at the Spooky Dookie Woods. And so the first little arc of your journey, or I guess first sizable stretch, is getting to the Spooky Dookie Woods. We call this the filler arc. I don't know why the fuck you start a game on a filler arc. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Because you kind of go from, you do your intro shit, you train, you get off, you meet Teeks, Mole People. Mole People was a fucking side quest. I'm sorry. It was,
but it turned out really important at the end.
Yeah,
I was thrown off. I didn't understand. I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So you did it because the elevator wasn't working.
That's it.
The elevator wasn't working because there was one mole guy being the dickhead.
Oh, and then they hinted at the dragon, the sleeping dragon, and all of that stuff. Yeah.
So there's another game that does this, and it's called Final Fantasy 14, where you have, where you will have seemingly inconsequential shit kind of come back and help you in the future. And that does not make it cool. It does not make it cool. Like, just because, spoilers for Final Fantasy Endwalker, but just because I'll go Shadowbringers. I helped some guys in the mining village get through some bullshit, and you had me go back and forth on some boring garbage for several hours. And then way later, it's just like, hey man, those guys we helped in the mining town, they can help us build this thing. And so technically what you did wasn't a waste of time, but it still feels like you wasted my fucking time. What could have been an email. That's what the Mole Town kind of felt like. Granted, this game I think benefits greatly from the fact that the act of playing it is good. Yeah. So like if it's just an excuse to go into a dungeon and fuck shit up and solve puzzles and stuff like that, it's cool. But it was a side quest. You finally go, you get past there, unless somebody wants to add something.
You saw the moleman. Let's see what's his name. Hold on. Malcolm Mood.
That's the sage dude or the wizard.
So all the mole people are being mean to him because he can't build like everyone else can. He can't dig like everyone else can, but he's a mage, so like he can do other stuff. And then you meet him and his pet, and Garl, the main character, goes up to him and he's like, "You're special in your own way. Don't listen to these other fuck faces." And then Malkmud is like, "Yeah." And,
and Zale and Valer stand there.
It's like, are we gonna kill this guy, Garl, or what? So main character Garl fulfills his prophecy almost immediately. He says, "Yeah, you will calm a something wayward soul or something." That's Malkmud, and then you don't see Malkmud for
20 hours.
Or like
15 hours, something like that, yeah.
But it becomes very important. And this area, as you're taking the elevator down to the next area to get to the Pirates Cove, there's a big dragon that's asleep around this area. And you know, everybody's saying, don't wake the dragon. He's evil. He'll destroy the whole world. And then you don't see the dragon again for 20 hours. And when you meet Malkmud again.
Yeah. As a thing to point out is that, also, all the sprite work, artwork, all that kind of shit, also fucking like top notch, like top notch. Like there's like little side quests in the Mole People village to like turn on the water, so this one like mole lady can bathe, and it's just like, you go in, you go in, you turn in the water, you go out, like you see before you go in, she's like standing next to this like empty wash basin or something or bathtub. And you go back out, she's like just chilling in there, and it's just I don't know, just like a little shit. This game has a lot of little shit. Yeah, that like you didn't have to do that, but you did.
Yeah, and truly, whoever worked on this game
gave a shit.
Yeah, gave a shit. Really, yeah,
gave legit. Many shits, big shits too. So, so going on from there, you go to Brisk is the name of it, the city. I guess. Yeah, port city, port town type place.
I have something to say about this place.
Go on.
Okay. I enjoyed what they did with the like we said, little small things in the town, little people you could talk to, lots of chests. And it was under my impression that I would be able to come back to this place and get these things.
No, you can.
Not all of it. You missed some.
It gets moved.
Yeah.
After that little arc when you come back,
it gets rebuilt like later on.
It gets like at the end of the game, you can go back and it's pretty much the same shit.
This is not, at the end of the game is worthless at this point.
That's what you think. That's what you think. Yep.
Other than the guy under the boardwalk, like his fucking.
That's what you think. He's trying to autofocus.
Oh, he's trying to autofocus. But you was telling me stop spoiling.
He's drinking. He's drinking.
I'm drinking.
He doesn't want to make it look like when he drinks, he like fellatiates his fucking cup.
I was trying not to draw attention to myself, but thank you for doing the exact opposite.
You put your hand in front of the camera. What the fuck do you want us to say?
I didn't want you to know what I was drinking.
It's like, yo, he's jerking off right on podcast. Tony, put your hand in front of the camera. What the fuck are you doing?
Stop making fun
of me. All right, so go down the mountain, go to the Pirateville, not Pirate, I keep calling it, whatever. You go to Brisk, it's like this port town. You meet the pirates.
They're
the
right
cringe
next
pirates.
To this big ass
very cringy pirates. Yes.
You meet the cringe pirates, and pretty much the town is like really, really big. for no reason. And like, so you go, but no, it's like, once again, attention to detail, awesome. Game looks great. Music's awesome. Like, the production values are sick. You meet the pirates. The pirates are like, hey, we need a MacGuffin. And we're not going to go unless we get this MacGuffin. To be fair, the MacGuffin comes in handy, but still, you need a MacGuffin. You go on a side quest, aka the main quest, and you go to a dungeon and get this MacGuffin for the pirates.
Yep.
One thing you immediately learn with the pirates is, once again, is that there's cringe because you have their captain called Captain Cliche, because it was they couldn't just like, I mean, it's like funny, but also at the same time, it's like just like ham it up, live up the cliche. It's okay. You don't have to acknowledge it. Like, we know you don't have to say it. And the problem is that they didn't quite get that when there's this one pirate called Yolanda. I think it sound like
Yolanda.
that.
Yeah, Yolanda.
Yep. And her whole shtick is that she says all of the JRPG cliches.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be funny. I'm sorry. I don't know if any of you guys found that funny, and I'm just being like a Debbie Downer. But okay, cool, good. Because it's like, you know, like, a joke sucks when you have to tell me why the joke was funny, kind of thing. Like, maybe
I'll tell you, I'm a big JRPG fan. I did not catch on that she was referencing anything. I thought she was just being obnoxious.
Wow.
Until you just said it now.
Yeah, no, because she's going like, oh, hey, don't you find it funny that as you go up, the further north you go, the better equipment they have, the more expensive it gets, but yet they live in huts, and it's just like,
she did do that shit.
Shut the
she
fuck
did
up.
Do that.
Like, yeah.
I remember the exact thing. I didn't catch on that. Okay, yeah.
So like, tell me you're not going to do that. Then
I got the
you're
joke
gonna make
now.
a joke. Yeah, it's like, tell me tell me, like, if you're gonna make a joke about it, especially because they make a joke about it and then do it, and it's like, I don't know. It's I don't know, because there are things in this game that are like haha funny. Like, I appreciate that, but a lot of the times where they're just telling jokes like this, it's just like, stop, bro. You just posted cringe. Stop.
I didn't even know it was a problem until you said it. Like, honestly,
and the same with Captain Cliche. Like,
because you'll overlook it if you're not paying attention to the story.
The joke with Captain Cliche, I thought was funny. Like,
it was funny in bits. It was funny in some bits, but I think just the fact that they called it Captain Cliche was like a bit much.
I did not catch on to her name being Cliche until you said it out loud.
So
yeah,
but like
Cliche.
Wow.
Shit.
So,
like, she's
fucking oblivious.
You know. So I guess to talk about Captain Cliche, Captain Cliche is or I guess, taking a step back, you get the MacGuffin, reconvene with the pirates, take the boat over to the Spooky Dookie Woods. This is where the first dweller is. You get here, and it's kind of I think it's like the first place that location that I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, because you have a bunch of people who are there. Most of the people that are there, they tell you were adventurers who came to try and stop the dweller woe, but they kind of just wind up like having a curse put on them that they never leave. Yeah. They can't kill the thing and they can never leave. So they just sit there and they're all like kind of sarcastic when you tell them that you're about to do something. And they're like, yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. Or like you get there and you tell the innkeeper's like, oh, we'll be here for a couple nights. He's like, yeah, a couple nights. Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're Solstice Warriors. Yeah. Solstice Warriors. Fantastic. Great.
Yeah. I liked that. That was good.
So the whole thing with this dweller is like, he imprisons everybody on the island, and then when he gets hungry, he chooses one person to get to the mansion and like mind controls him, and then puts him, eats him. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dwellers are fucked up. Dwellers are fucked up.
That little bit of story was actually pretty dope. I did enjoy that.
Yeah,
and it also introduces you to another character, which was nice.
Oh yeah.
So that's
oh yeah, so Garl gets taken. He's like chosen by the dweller to be eaten, and he like can't control himself, and then the Solstice Warriors are like, but we need to wait for backup. Where they're waiting for the other Solstice Warriors.
Yeah, they can't stop him.
fucking
Erlina and Brugo Chavez.
Erlina and Brugo Chavez.
the headmaster.
And the headmaster. Yeah,
Headmaster. They're going to
Marine.
come and defeat the last dweller with them. But they're not there yet. We got there first. So Garl gets taken. They're like, we got to go after him. We don't care about backup.
Well, no, it's not. Oh, it's not Garl. It's one of the people in the inn.
One of the people in the inn. Yes,
Yeah.
one of the people. And Garl's like, we have to go after them anyway. Because main character. And then he runs after them, and the Solstice Warriors run after them. And then Captain Cliché's like, you can't do that. You're fucking stupid. Stop. They go anyway, and then she tells her pirates friends, go, I gotta go check on the ship. And then she leaves, a completely new character shows up. It's clearly Captain, but nobody references it. That's just, she can teleport. And then she joins your party, because Garl, after you save the one dude, or try to save the one dude, Garl gets taken and gets into the mansion. So now you got to go on this whole other MacGuffin quest to gain access to the mansion to save Garl. All that.
Well, it was so what happened was that the guy they were unable to save the guy because like the magic that Dweller was doing was too strong. They can't stop him.
Right.
And then like I guess they kind of like peeved him or pissed him off. I guess essentially like the Dweller. So then the Dweller takes Garl, and that's when
That's right.
the not captain shows up and backstabs him to put him under so he won't walk, but then they have to go get MacGuffin to save Garl.
Right.
That I would say as an aside, I forgot to mention with the pirates kind of do a little funny bit of I don't know, subversion's the word, but when you're ready to sail, they're like, here, all right, come on, we're ready to sail, and there's this big ass boat there.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, oh, that's not our boat. And it's like a fucking raft made out of Lincoln logs or some shit.
Yeah.
That shit was funny. Yeah, when they was like, yeah, we're gonna
like,
sail. It's our boat. It's like, fuck.
Here's our fucking hoopty. So so yeah, you team up with this character named Sarai, I think.
Yeah, Sarai.
Sarai.
Who is obviously Captain Cliché. But she's like a ninja assassin type thing. This one thing I like about this bit and what this game does a little bit that I like is blue balling. So what they'll do, and this is like a super duper, if anyone's played Half-Life, you know, where they put you in situations where you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do about this? What the fuck do I do about this? What do I do about this?
Right.
In this game's case, on the way to help this person that the Dweller's taking, you find these zombies that like fucking absolutely dick you down 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah.
And like the zombies, when they have the little lock things above their head, which I guess we haven't mentioned yet, but
Right. Well, now is the perfect time to explain.
yeah. So the game has a lock. They call it like it's a lock system. So you'll have enemies that are casting an attack, enemies, bosses, whatever. They're casting attack, and it'll have a little turn counter that says when the cast is going to go off.
Right.
Above their head, you'll see a bunch of little squares that have these symbols in them that represent different like elements and damage types.
Yeah, like
that your
poison,
characters
moon
do.
magic, sun magic,
Slashing, bludgeoning, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's your goal or what your priority is to try and knock out all of those locks before the cast goes off.
Right. So, for example, if there's two sword attacks and a moon magic attack, you need to have Zale do 2 slashing attacks because he does slashing damage. The Serene. Valerie. I don't
She
know.
does bludgeoning. She does bludgeoning.
Valerie does bludgeoning, but she also does moon magic. So you have to do one double attack with Zale, and then you need to use the moon magic.
So
on,
to make this simple
Hillary.
for all of everybody at home, it is basically like elemental break damage. If you you can break any enemy by actually doing whatever it is that needs to be hit with that enemy.
Yeah. So so you know, like they said, you'll see the elements, you match them. So in this section, you're running into these zombies, and they have a new thing above their
Lock,
head. It's
new
a
lock.
poison,
Yeah.
a new lock. It's what looks like poison, like green skull type shit or something
And
like
you
that.
don't have that in your party at this time.
I was so thrown off when I saw that shit at first, and I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah, what am I supposed to do? And then you get Sarai, who does poison damage, and I'm like, Okay, yeah, you blue balled me. You blue balled
me.
me.
You got me. You got me.
It's like if I don't know if you guys have played the Half-Life games, like Half-Life 1 and 2.
Yep.
But like in Half-Life 2 is probably the most well-known one, I would assume, where you get into Ravenholm. Oh, you should. You get into Ravenholm, and it's essentially, for lack of a better word, zombies. There are zombies. There are a lot of zombies, and you kind of just don't have shit except your gravity gun. Right. And dealing with the zombies is kind of annoying, and you're like, fuck. This sucks. And eventually, like part of the way through this chapter, you run into this guy who fucking throws a shotgun to you, and you're like, I could have used this at the beginning of the chapter, but it's also incredibly fucking cathartic when you see your first zombie afterwards, and you're like, bam, fuck you, I have a shotgun. It's a good kind of blue balling, and this game does that a wee bit. Yeah. So you get Sarai, you go and essentially beef with a necromancer to get was it the soul stone or something like that?
Yeah, the soul stone to cure Garl.
Yeah, to cure Garl. You go through that, you fight the necromancer.
Well, to get to the necromancer. So the MacGuffin that we talked about, that we got that the pirates wanted to use that MacGuffin to get the ghost ship. That like you'll find out with the lore from Teeks. We haven't gotten there yet, but what that thing does is you can make a deal with the dead and make them do whatever you command. So there's like a crossroads, not a crossroads,
the ferryman. It's the ferryman.
A ferryman that's a skeletal man, like what's that Greek dude?
Some undead dude, yeah.
Yeah, so it says, I'm only going to ferry you if you can get me this item. And there's like, but we don't have this item and we're short on time. All right, I'll fucking use the MacGuffin that I wanted to use for the other thing, which, this character has that is not Captain something.
Yeah.
And so we don't have that item, very important item, and we get across, and then we can go fight the necromancer.
Yeah. So yeah, you fight the necromancer. She gives you the soul stone. You go back, you save Garl. Necromancer kind of makes a little comment that said next time it's not going to be a 3v1, which actually turns out to be a thing later in the future. And you you save Garl. The Sarai, your assassin, not captain buddy, leaves. Captain magically shows up, which is kind of like a little bit of a gag they have going on. That one's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And you finally get, this probably like, for me, it was probably like 7-8 hours in. You finally get to fighting the first dweller.
Yeah.
And essentially you go through this mansion, you meet up with your other Solstice warrior buddies,
Brugaves and Merlina and Headmaster
Moraine, the headmaster. And prior to this, I guess it should be noted that like they're kind of like sprinkling in some little bits about how Erlina and Brugaves, whatever his name is, are kind of like not happy with the way things are because they're Solstice warriors, and essentially it's like once you get brought down, pretty much from the moment you're born, your life is set. Or like your life is set in stone.
You have no choice to do anything else but be a warrior.
Yeah, and fight and then die or fucking until you don't die or some shit like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sprinkling in little bits that they're beefing with the headmaster, who's very, like you're very stereotypical, by the book, that kind of, sticks to the ways and all that kind of shit, the traditions. And they're like, always constantly talking and complaining or bringing up how they're not happy with the fact that they don't have any choice as to what their life is.
Right.
Which culminates into this part of the game where you guys fight the Dweller of Woe. You don't have enough eclipse light coming in because they can only hurt the Dwellers when there's an eclipse happening. So our main character blows a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah.
But with a pressure cooker.
Garl.
Garl.
Right.
Yeah, Garl.
Clutch move. Like, you play as him. He goes on his own solo quest during the boss fight. It's like, you're the main dude.
Yeah. You beat the Dweller. There's like a little orb that you have to destroy once the Dweller dies. That's how they die, like for real.
Mm-hmm.
And this wall of energy appears, and you see these 4 dudes come out, and they kind of been sprinkling in cutscenes with these 4 mysterious figures prior to this happening. They're just like your, we're plotting evil things type dudes. They show up, and it turns out that Erlina and Brugo Chavez were plotting against you the whole time. This is what we kind of talked about this earlier in the episode, where they're like, you know what, this is the last dweller, last one, at least as far as you knew, it's the last dweller, and we're gonna proceed to reset the whole process because we're really fucking stupid. So and kind of like, our lives were about to be ours, and instead we decided to not do it. That was beyond me.
Yeah.
I said the same shit. I was just like, wait, this is the last dweller.
But it wasn't technically.
Technically, but if this is what the guys discussed in your brain, you should just finish this so you can live your life the way you want to. Correct?
Yeah.
But I guess in the chieftain's eyes, you remain a solstice warrior. You never leave.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was like a blood in, blood out type thing.
I felt like it was super weak. Like that whole thing was super duper weak for them to be so close to completing their jobs, to just sacrifice the whole world so they can fucking deliver newspapers and go out to the movies on the weekend.
I could understand wanting your own fucking life, but that reasoning, it's almost like I'm sick of tired of being a warrior. Like, motherfucker,
you're done.
You're done. This is the last one, right? Why are we complaining? You should have quit like 6 or 7 fucking
dwellers ago.
Like, what are we doing? Like, but
like really right here. Also, not only are you quitting at the fact, they know that this wasn't the last one, which we're gonna touch on, I guess, after this. Yeah. But like. It's like, oh, hey, we got one more left, or fuck, we're just gonna keep doing this forever. It's like, bro, we just like literally shit stomped this guy. Like, we fucking, we dicked this motherfucker down where they stood, and you're gonna somehow all of a sudden give up. Like, what? That makes no fucking sense. And then
it needed to happen for plot. And
it was a weak plot.
The point being is like there's a lot of stuff that just happens because there needs to be plot.
Contrived.
And it just doesn't feel like there's a lot behind it. But that's my gripe, the overarching gripe with Sea of Stars that I have personally.
Yeah.
It's like everything that happens just needs to happen to move the thing forward. It doesn't feel like there's anything underneath it,
I'm getting twitchy about this ending. I want to fucking like speed run the rest of this shit, but taking my time.
Take your time. Deep breaths.
So anyway, they betray the gang. This cause a blood moon. They bring back the dweller that killed like fucking everybody.
Yeah,
because apparently after no longer wanting to fight, they decided to bring back the motherfucker that killed all the other people in the first place, and it's so moving on. So afterwards, this is like I super skipped over that in my notes. So essentially, you've found like. This dweller comes back and destroys Brisk. Its appearance, it lands in the middle of the town of Brisk, that port city thing we're talking about. That Tony was saying that it
was huge. It was really nice and all that.
Yeah. They destroy it. You have a very, very quick segment in there where you save people. Then afterwards, they're like, "Hey, we need a boat." And the pirates don't have a boat. To be fair, they technically didn't. They had a raft. I don't know.
Nobody has a boat because the entire port city is destroyed.
Got destroyed. Yeah. So like, you know what? We're gonna get.
There's a funny moment where it's like the Solstice Warrior's like, "Does anybody have a boat?" And then the pirates look at him and is like, "This whole fucking place is destroyed. What do you mean nobody has a boat?" So they're like, "Oh,
yeah." So afterwards, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna get that ghost boat that we got the coin for, but they no longer have the coin for, because you can still get the boat without." Having the coin. So you go and you get this boat, which turns out to be a very special boat. There's a whole story about the boat that's inconsequential to everything else that happens in the game. I'm
all right, it's fine. That's not. I know you're not looking at me, but you're looking at me. I felt it. The captain of this boat and its navigator were in love, and the captain was a true pirate. Navigator was like sort of a pirate, and navigator was like, "Hey, I want to go live a life outside of piracy," and the captain was like, "No, you have to be the navigator for this place. We're the most successful pirate ship in the world." So the navigator stopped navigating. That means the captain couldn't move the boat, and the captain didn't move the boat until the navigator gave in. But the navigator's will was so strong, and the captain's will was so strong that they're just at a deadlock standstill, and everybody died of hunger, and they're on they're cursed. The whole ship is cursed. And like the pirate captain is keeping them there. You get to the ship, the ghost ship. You meet with the navigator, and continue.
I appreciate you summing that up because I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't know none of that shit. I just knew about the navigator. I was just like, what?
That's why you listen to Teeks.
It was Teeks. It was the first story that Teeks had was that one. That's the only one I read before beating the game.
Yeah,
I didn't even read that. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, because
you have to set up your camp, which I never do. Because you can either rest, save,
right,
or set up your camp, which is just an extra step to just rest. They have a rest button. So there's no reason to set up the camp, only to talk to Teeks. And like, I'm trying to get through the game, and it's like, I never set up my camp to talk to Teeks. So it's like, I just, I've only set up my camp once.
Pretty much, yeah. And like, these are things that would have been great if you like,
yeah,
like this seems like stuff that you want me to care about. Why make it
like direct
especially
comparison?
Because it was interesting.
Yeah, direct comparison is Baldur's Gate. You go to camp to rest to end the day, and you get interesting character conversations. You could have had interesting character conversations in the camp if you set it up. There's no reason to set up the camp. And also, these characters are kind of what, the characters, it's kind of weak.
Yeah, especially, like, I mean, I've said it a bunch of times already, but like, your Zale and Valera are fucking boring fucks. I'm sorry.
There was after the story. I get why they're boring compared to Garl. Because they had a strict upbringing and just training.
Do anything.
They don't
do anything.
But they do have
everything.
They do have a lot of moments where they're acting. I wouldn't say brother or sisters, but like finishing each other's sentences or just looking at each other and just being like,
yeah, because what? If you combine fucking water and water together, it's bigger water. Like, it still tastes like nothing. That's what these characters are. That's what, like, Garl is the driving force.
Yeah, he talks to everybody. Like, he negotiates everything. He names a city. He names a god. He names a fucking dragon. He names a bunch of shit. He is the Gale of my story
in Baldur's Gate, basically, right?
I cannot wait. I cannot fucking wait to get to the ending, man.
Oh my god!
I cannot fucking wait. So much so that I skip the rest of this shit just to get there. But anyway, so, you guys you got the boat. Found the town of Mirth, who no longer has the completionist inside of it, because there's this one NPC called fucking Bob. So there's one NPC called Bob.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you got any building plans so we can build more buildings and flesh out this town of Mirth where all these refugees from Brisk have been taken, where you took them to. Also, as Snarf said, Garl named the town because Garl is Charles in charge. So so this NPC used to be the completionist.
He's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Big beard.
Until yeah. Wait, what?
Big beard.
Yeah, big beard. Yeah, big beard dude. YouTube channel, The Completionist. Most channel near and dear to my heart. because his whole shtick was he would not just beat games, he would complete them, and he talked about them, and it was just like, it was good vibes. It was good vibes, just a guy who loves gaming and not donating money that he said he was donating. So until he did. But anyway, after that whole donation money thing, look it up. I'm not getting into that shit here. Obviously that backlash, or the CSR's people, were hearing shit from, I assume Twitter, going like, hey man, this guy's in your game. And they're like, okay, sure. Like I did not follow that little bit right there too much, but the fact that they replaced him with a dude named Bob, that's I'm sure they were just like, yeah, whatever, fuck, here's Bob, leave us alone. Shit, we had nothing to do with this.
He was originally that NPC in the game, and they replaced him with Bob, and was like, okay, well, see you later, Bob.
Hey, Bob. So there's a crypt. The crypt is essentially just the thing that has all the Kickstarter people in there. I don't know what's at the end. Someone does.
All right, so you go through the whole crypt. You get a flimsy hammer, and you use the flimsy hammer on a wardrobe, and it breaks into the developer studios. And you talk to developers as NPCs in the game. You break the fourth wall with a flimsy hammer. Continue.
Oh, okay. Well, I have multiple flimsy hammers. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm not going back there.
But that crypt is
cool.
like all
It's
the
cute.
backers, all the Kickstarters.
Yeah, it's all the Kickstarter
names and all that. It's an homage to them. The ghost at the crypt is like, hey, you don't got to do any of this shit.
Yeah. The ghost makes it very clear. It's like, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You don't need to do this. Don't think this is something you have to do.
I'll go back. Maybe, probably.
No.
You probably won't.
So from there, your headmaster, who just pretty much gives up after not giving up his whole fucking life, just goes, you know what? I'm done.
He goes,
I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
The Dweller of Woe came back. We're doomed.
Or the Strife.
Strife. We're doomed. It's over. I don't want to be a chief anymore. I feel
done.
like I just want to be.
Listen, you don't have to be the headmaster of this place anymore, but could you become the headmaster of this town,
Of this town, right? Like, what the fuck? I'm
And
like,
he was
okay.
oh, power,
And he's just like,
political power, nice.
Sure.
It's amazing when other people pick apart something that you never noticed. Because now I'm just like, yo, that was so fucking stupid. Like, that was stupid as shit. Like, that kind of pissed me off. Now that y'all are bringing that up, I'm really mad about it. Because it's just, it was just like,
It gets worse.
You retired just to unretire to do it again.
Within seconds.
Seconds, bro. Like, I think I could do that.
And you know who suggested that? Fucking Garl.
Fucking Garl. Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah.
Garl is the mover of pieces on this chessboard, I'm telling you.
And like the thing is that, like, what I said earlier, 8 out of 10 game for me. If I were to rate it, I'd give it 8 out of 10.
As much as shit as we're talking and how much stupid shit there is, 8 out of 10 game. Play it.
It's also hard to not harp on some things because it is an RPG where the story is in the front.
Yeah.
It's at the forefront. So these are things that you're constantly seeing and you're like, you sure about that? You sure about that?
Did anybody else like get not lost, but have moments where you're running back and forth, you're trying to figure some shit out?
I go to the main world.
That's only happened to me twice.
It happened to me a couple of times, just because I put the game down and the next day I was like, what am I doing? I go to the main world. I look at the star on the map. That's where I'm supposed to be. It's always my true north. That like they point out where you're supposed to be and you can't miss it. Like even when you're lost, you can be found. Jesus is the way. No.
I'm going to slaughter the fattened calf for he has returned.
Put the goat's blood on your door and you'll be fine. All right, continue.
Okay. So anyway, you go, headmaster gives you a hammer. He's like, ring the bell, use this hammer, fish dudes, they fuck. And so you go, I'm gonna like kind of real quick.
Okay, cool.
Everyone's okay with
That's
that.
fine.
So you go, you go to the fish town, you ring the bell. They're like, hey, we're fishermen. We fuck, but we don't know if you fuck. So you got to go over here and get some MacGuffin so you two can fuck with us. Yeah. And so you go to get the MacGuffin, and this is the first time you run into. This is the second time that you run into the cult of bad men.
The fiends. There are 4 fiends. The 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are their names.
Oh, no.
You fight 2 of them.
The cult of bad men is funny.
you fight 2 of them pretty much before you can finish a job. They're like, hey, we're done here, punks.
We're done. Yeah,
and they leave. You get the MacGuffin. Fishermen are like, okay, you are a fuckist. Come with us. And you go down to the Fishman village.
Now you have the ability to breathe underwater.
And to meet the most infuriating motherfucking NPC in the game.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Conch Collector. The Rainbow Conch Collector.
Oh, that motherfucker.
The goddamn Rainbow Conch Collector. I'm starting with that, and I'm leaving it there. I'm coming back later.
Okay, good, because I did not meet him.
There's a little girl or something.
Little girl. Yeah.
That
ran around one of the little conches that was everywhere.
Yeah, it's like they're like they're kind of like in the northeast corner of the town. They have what looks like a little stand.
That's the one town I didn't explore because I thought, because when you come in, you're facing downward, so it's like, oh, you're facing in the direction you want to go, so you go in the opposite direction. But apparently, up is the direction, and I went up, and I went straight into the room into a cutscene, and then they sent me into the
you're
fucking
bringing back bad memories.
And I'm like,
you're bringing back
I
bad
want to go
memories.
back to the town and look at it, but you're already gone, so I did not go into the town.
So I guess going off of there, you go into the like elders' chambers, something like that. This is where he tells Garl when the time comes, ask for a flask of borrowed time. So Garl's just you got it, dude.
This fisherman has the same job as the Elder Mist. He's a professorian type dude.
Yeah. He kind of has like this waterfall behind him, opens it up, and he's just like, I don't know what you want. In every reality, you cannot beat the Dweller of Strife, but whatever you need is through here. So go there. You go there, you get to the water temple. I don't know how anyone felt about that level. I thought for water level, I was fine with it.
Yeah,
I got kind of pissed off at the tubes. The tubes kind of pissed me off a little bit. But other than that, somebody told me, it was a solid world. Somebody told me that it was comparable to Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Water. I said no. Yeah, I said no. I said no.
No. This is a good water temple. This is a good water level.
It's like Zelda's Ocarina. It's like Ocarina of Time's water temple. What do you mean? It has water in a temple.
It has water in a temple, right? What the fuck are you talking about?
Before you get to the top, I want to stop you. So continue.
Oh well, you got it. So like there's a video. So there's this YouTube channel called Second Wind. It was formerly The Escapist. There's a guy in there that does a series called Design Delve. He actually spoke with the director of the game, the Thierry Boulanger guy, and they talked about that level and essentially that they're in. Like the guy said, the reason why this spark notes of it, but the biggest thing I took away from it was that you can see the tower on when you're sailing around, so you kind of like see it's coming. That kind of stuff, so it's not like kind of blindsides you. And more importantly, and this what I thought was the actual thing that made this place not be ass was that each puzzle was in its own self-contained room.
Yeah.
The tube puzzle, technically, even though it's like you take the tube and it takes you to a different room, they're all part of one thing.
Big room. Yeah.
They're all part of one thing. It's not like you fuck with Sun in one room and one level down to the right and in the back, like in the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time, Sun changed there. So in Ocarina of Time, when you do the Water Temple, the strat is at every water level, you go to every fucking room.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not using a guide, that's how you do it. That's not fun.
I will say, the puzzles in this game, I feel like I never got stumped by a puzzle. Just me moving around shit, it just flowed.
That's intentional. That's intentional.
Right,
so the guy in that video...
I never got stuck by a puzzle. I just got annoyed. I just got I don't know. The water level bullshit was just starting to annoy me when I looked at something and I'm going back and forth and I was just like, man,
looking back on while I was doing it, the thought I had was like, this could have been harder, but I'm just getting very lucky at just moving shit.
No,
that
it's
I didn't
intentional.
get stuck. Okay,
it's intentional
because I wasn't thinking really through that whole water temple with all the shit.
Just going.
I was just
you're
going, and everything just worked out.
It was just the room with the tubes where I got like a little stumped for a little bit. But the guy who said, like in that video, saying like their puzzle design, the point was to not so much like they didn't want to stop you. It's just more like, okay, stop, especially if it's like certain mechanics or something like that or new things introducing. We're gonna like hit you with it. Then next time you see it, we're gonna hit you with it like harder. And the next time you see it after that, we're just taking it easy. And so the point of the puzzles at the end of the day was really just, from what I could gather, was like a pacing thing,
right?
And so that's why for the most part the puzzles in the game, aside from like some optional ones, which I assume you guys might not have seen, but pretty much all the puzzles are just like, okay, they might be cool little things, but they're never things that really like just stop you, just like completely stop you for ass on end usually, unless someone had a different experience. I don't know.
No.
So, you do this water temple, puzzles, all sorts of shit. You get to the top.
All right. We forgot to mention something.
Go on.
The way the game starts off, you have a narrator that says, there's a bunch of stories that are going on. And I've been looking for the secret to finding this calculation, but maybe I overlooked the story that I looked at a long time ago. Let's see what's happening. And then they tell you the story of the Solstice Warriors. He pops up again from time to time. It's like a separate cutscene for narration. Continue.
So that guy turns out to be at the top of this tower.
Yes.
And he's God.
Yes, he is God.
He is God.
And then he's like, I'll help you, but you can't tell anybody that I'm helping you.
And then everyone knows anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like every single secret in this game. Like we forgot to mention when Captain Cliche reveals herself to be Sarai, and that one was actually kind of funny because she does a little Wonder Woman spin and then becomes Sarai, and she's like, I've been the same person. And then they're all like, we already kind of knew that.
You already kind of knew.
And then
Yeah,
you see the picture of her just like,
What?
Right.
What?
Yeah, I remember that. The picture, like, you knew?
So yeah, you meet you meet this guy.
Yeah,
he's God. His name is Rashawn.
Sean,
also known
Rashawn.
as the Great Beagle.
Alchemist.
The Great Eagle.
The Great Eagle. The
Immortal
Alchemist.
Alchemist.
Yeah.
And essentially his whole shtick in the plot or in the grand scheme of things is that he finds the kids that were born on a solstice and drops them off at the town to get trained.
Right.
In his like eagle form. So he comes with you, but he's like, here are some like little stipulations. I can't fight dwellers. I can't be stronger than you. And all that kind of stuff.
Like he's as powerful as the legendary Fleshmancer, and he worked out a deal with at this point in time. Like I'm just telling you our perspective from this point. He worked out a deal with the Fleshmancer, like two sides of the same coin. Like, hey, I won't. These are the stipulations. If you break any of these stipulations, the Fleshmancer will come back into this world and do whatever the hell he wants. So pretty much him keeping the stipulations keeps the Fleshmancer out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I guess we'll get to in a bit. So he comes with you on your journey. He kind of tells you where you should look for things to help your journey and give you a fighting chance against other dudes. He essentially points you to a spot where there's an artifact that allows you to change the day and night cycles wherever you want, because prior to this point there was a mechanic that was like kind of seldom used where you'd have to step on these platforms and then you hit one of the triggers and you could just like cycle the day in between 9 days to
and
solve
you could
puzzles.
only do it on those platforms.
You could only do it on the platforms, but once you get this artifact you could do it wherever you want.
He also incorporated more fucking bullshit to kill enemies because he added himself to my party. I hate it. Yeah, purple shit.
He gives you the arcane damage, or whatever, the purple one.
Yeah, purple damage. You have the he can do purple and toxic damage, but now he can do two toxic damage for the first time.
He can do 2 toxic damage, and he can do toxic damage. If you nail your throws with him, one hit hits everybody.
Yeah.
So he was like pretty good, but his magic I thought was kind of shit aside from the healing.
Low damage.
Yeah,
Low
same.
damage.
I felt the same way.
Yeah,
That's what I
like
felt.
the point of his magic was like more to solve things rather than actually kill things, because like, you know, one spell brought things together, brought enemies together.
That,
and did 3 ticks
that's
of
the goat move.
Yeah, and it did 3 ticks of the purple, and the other one, if you timed it, would get rid of 2 random locks. So I found myself frequently in situations where an enemy or a boss had 2 locks left that I couldn't just do in one turn, but then he came in, did his spell, and was able to knock it out. So I like with the combat, the lock system kind of introduces to 4D chess. It also brings up problems when I wait. So so he comes with you. Essentially, after you do a few things, which I'm just going to kind of glaze over, you find out that there's another dweller. I think it was like the Dweller of Dread or something like that. It was the Dweller of Gorillas.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
you go into the mountain.
Yo,
and
this is where shit shit started getting fucked up here. Like this game is bubbly and all that. You start going against the minions of the Fleshmancer in this place. This is a fucked up place.
They're meaty.
Yeah.
They're weird. It's like body horror type shit. And while you're in that dungeon, you see like fleshy bits everywhere, and or you're in this mountain, and you like the music is nothing but like low rumble the whole time. I was like, oh hey yo, this is a change.
Is this the place? Is this the place with the monkeys?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the gorillas. Yeah.
Oh
little
yeah,
monkeys.
yeah. Because it seems like the deeper we go into the story, the more I'm starting to forget. Jesus. I don't know what the hell that's about.
Yeah, it's a place with the monkeys. It's a place with the monkeys. So you go through the place. You find out there are these monkeys there. The monkeys are the dweller's food. So he's like really fucked up because they're really cute. And so you go, you fight the monkey. I'm not quite sure. Oh no,
well,
the
monkey's mom is like an elder spirit that they thought they were all extinct, but the dweller is keeping her chained up so that she can lure her children to be food for the dweller.
Yeah, so it's it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I was like, God damn.
So you go fight the dweller. Sarai comes in and opens up a big ass portal, so you guys are able to kick this thing's ass, or the portal like kind of lets the moon and the sun in, or the eclipse in. You kill this gorilla. Technically, if these dumbasses didn't betray you beforehand, all the dwellers would have been dead.
All of them.
All of them. Defeated by like a couple of teenagers or some shit. I don't know how fucking old they are, but like
they can't be that old. They can't be old.
Yeah. So you fight this dweller, and then afterwards, just like, all right, we're cool. We're cool guys. Now it's time to go. We're ready to go to stop the dweller of strife and all that kind of stuff. So you make the big ass journey over there.
Can I just bring this up, because it's all little hidden gems that we don't discuss, that we miss. Did anybody else think it was cool, the transportation system from one island to another with the big ass giants throwing you in a fucking
where they
bowl?
just fucking yeet your
Fucking
ass?
yeet the shit out of you and then catch you.
That was Yeet,
and one of their
right?
names, Yeet. It was one of their names.
Yeah, none of their names are Yeet. I was just like, yo, this is pretty cool. That was dope. Yeah, but move on. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, it's all good.
No, it's definitely good though. And I like the ship. Me and Fist was watching me, and we were talking about it. The ship travel, and it was like reminded us of Microbot racing,
Micro Machine
racing for like the Game Boy.
When you would hit the left or right on the stick, it wasn't based on how you were looking; it's based on the direction the car was facing.
Yeah,
that's how the boat is. So, like, if the boat's facing right, you hit left, it goes up.
And I was like, I was wondering why it made me smile so much, and was like, oh yeah, I love that. Like, I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah,
for Game Boy Advance.
Nintendo 64 for me, but so you get to this island. There was an actual funny here. There was a funny that I respected a lot.
Oh,
whereas the one of the giant dudes and the Rashawn wakes him up.
Oh yeah, he wakes him up. That shit was funny,
and
bro.
And he's like, "These are your friends. Let your friends up to the Fleshmancer's castle or the Clockwork Castle."
Well, I can't do that. That would be irresponsible of me to
would
let them
never
go
let
there.
my friends travel.
But he said, you know what? He put him back to sleep. He said, let's try this again.
And so he's like, yo, these are adventurers. Okay, here you go. Like,
there you go.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good.
So you go through,
and of course, all this time, Garl's doing all the talking.
Garl's doing all the talking. He's the driving force. You're going through, and you get to what was probably my favorite location in the game, personally. That's the Shroom Song Forest or whatever it's called.
Shroom Song Forest.
I like that one just because, like, the only reason why I like it is because in the music, when the music's going on, the music's like instrumentals, but then eventually some like kind of like, you know, vocal type, you know, choral line kicks in.
Music gets on.
And all the mushrooms start singing. And like, it's just one of those things in the background where you see all the mushrooms go from like, they're just smiling and all of a sudden like their mouths are open and they're just like belching all this shit out. And I'm like, yo, I like that.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
cool.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite like spot. So you got through there, you meet the necromancer, one of the necromancer sisters. She's indifferent. She's neutral.
Right.
So, you know, Switzerland.
But ultimately helpful.
Ultimately helpful. Yes. So
she's another one of these professorian type. I don't know what the prophecy people.
I mean, oracles, prophets.
Oracles. There we go. Oracles. That's the name. She's one of the. She's like the Elder Mist and Super Fish Dude. She
Cleo.
Yeah, she goes over prophecies, but her like shtick is she doesn't deal with small prophecies, so she doesn't give any to Garl or any of the other dudes. But she looks at the artifice, not the artificer, the Rashan, which is you know God, and she looks at him and says, "Hey, I got a prophecy for you." And he's like, "What? I'm God." Well, you don't have a prophecy for me. Yeah. And then he says, "When you find this thing that's really, really strong, you can fucking make him a body." And it's like, "Whoa!" Yeah. Like the first person to shock God is like you take note of it.
The thing is, like, aside from you know, like, oh well, you're not supposed to know who I am. It's just like, bro, the first person you meet is Teeks. Once you get this dude, and she immediately knows who he is, and you're like, wow, this is the world's worst kept secret. Apparently, Holy shit.
Everything is
like
the world's
multiple
worst kept
people
secret.
who know who he is as you play through the game, and you're just like, what's the point of keeping the fucking secret anymore, bro?
I mean, there is a point where there is no point to keep the secret because the cat's out of the bag. But up until that point, like, whatever.
So you get through there, you get to this clockwork castle, and you run into Brugo Chavez and Erlina, who are punk asses. You fight them, they're like, no, come on, yo, don't gotta be like this. And then your characters are like, ill, and they walk off.
Yeah.
You go into the clockwork castle and you find a bunch of kids or dudes who have been kids, like they're like 10 years old, but they've been there for like 1,000 years or some shit.
They're trapped under a curse. They have to be there working for the fiends. If they leave the castle, they age instantly and they die. So they're cursed to stay there. But
and
they're
keep
like
doing bad
super
things.
Smart. They invent technology and all that.
Yeah. So you kind of go through you go through that place first. They're like, hey, we're gonna need you if you want a key or something. You need to go to the watchmaker. Go to the watchmaker. Watchmaker gives you a key because the watchmaker is also a very neutral party in this. They're like, sure, whatever. You know, I'm gonna pretend I don't see anything.
Specifically, they don't give you a key.
Yeah, they don't give you a key. It just happens to be there.
Yeah.
And they also happen to play Wheels. I don't know if anyone played Wheels. I didn't fuck with it.
There's a mini game like bonus game. Like in Final Fantasy, you have the card game. This one it was a board game. I played 2 games and then I stopped playing because
I'm good.
It's like, I don't want it.
Yeah. I don't know. For me personally, when it comes to like these side mini games, even if it's good, I'm just like, I didn't come here to play this. I'm not playing this. Like specifically these kinds of games. In Yakuza, I could dick around, but in this, nah.
Yeah.
So I never played Wheels, so I'm gonna be honest. But apparently the watchmaker is the king of Wheels. So you go down, you get the key, open the door. These people that are trapped here are like, hey, we're gonna help you fight a Dweller of Strife with this machine that's gonna like blast the shit out of them. Like, cool. You go, you fight. Before you fight the Dweller of Strife, Snarf can talk about this fight. It's the 4 dudes.
Oh yeah, fuck the 4 dudes.
The 4
dude.
dudes, yeah.
So the fiends 1, 2, 3, and 4, they all come at you at the same time. I lost the first time because I was doing stupid shit. I knew the answer, but I was too impatient and I pressed a button when I shouldn't have, and I chose the wrong attack, and I was like, I just had a bad time because I was too impatient, not because it was too hard. It's a hard fight, but also the second time I mollywopped them. Fuck those guys. They're bad guys. They're good bad guys because I was very happy when I beat the shit out of them. That's all I have to say about that.
What fight are we talking about?
The 4 fiends. Before
the 4
you
dudes
fight
is
the
the 4
strife
guy
demon.
Yeah, it's the 4 guys with the masks. They're
Oh,
called
did
1,
you
2, 3,
skip?
and 4.
You skipped the. Okay. You skipped.
What did we skip?
Okay.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that you do fight the other 2 members that you didn't fight originally before.
Oh
this
yeah,
point,
we skipped that whole mountain.
But I'm
Oh, okay, you skipped the whole mountain. Gotcha.
I am speed running. I'm speed running.
I got you. Keep going.
This can't last forever.
Yeah.
So, you go after fighting them. They're like, whatever. Okay, you go. Or essentially, the Dweller of Strife wakes up. They're like, it's too late. You go fight the Dweller of Strife. The laser beam blasts him 3 times. You fucking lose. You lose.
Yeah.
You lose a fight.
You're not
you
strong
lose a
enough.
fight. You're not strong enough. And essentially, Zale and Valera look like they're about to kick the bucket when Sarai also turns out to be a main character briefly and grabs. So essentially, what this Rashawn had this thing called like I forgot what's like the time something a mortal time changing time
vial.
Yeah,
thing around his neck. It's what's he used for his main attack. One of the rules is specifically he cannot touch a dweller. So what Sarai does, she takes the thing off of his neck and throws it at the dweller, and is like, oh shit, now he's touched the dweller, and that immediately breaks the contract. The Fleshmancer comes through, and fucking Rashawn says, nobody fucking talk. I'm doing all the talking. So it's just him and the Fleshmancer talking, and the Fleshmancer's like, 1, 2, and 3. How have you guys stayed alive? And he says, we've been doing blood sacrifices of the fucking rose shit.
We've been using the vampire rose. Does it hurt all the time? And we're like, so edgy.
And yep, so interesting. You will be rewarded in the afterlife. So he takes the Dweller of Strife. He says, I can't lose this again. He takes it through his portal, and because the Rashawn hit his the Dweller of Strife with 1 attack, he says, an eye for an eye, and he goes to shoot us, the Solstice Warriors and Garl. Garl steps in the way because he's the main character. And then Rashawn stops time. And then you see that there's the relationship between the Fleshmancer and Rashawn. They're actually like friends. But like, one's a bad guy, one's a good guy. Fleshmancer's really mean. He's a really bad guy. But, he still has, he still is friends with Rashawn. So, they reminisce. Unstops time. Fucking Garl gets got. Real bad. Real bad. And then another prophecy comes to fruition. Zale. I'm really bad with names. Zale, I keep on looking over to the character name list.
Okay.
Fulfills his prophecy. He's in his darkest moment where his best friend is dying, and he unlocks his inner edge lord and turns into the sun and teleports and gains the ability to fly.
Yeah.
He takes Garl to the Elder Mist because the Elder Mist says, hey, Garl's about to die. I have one more prophecy for him. So he takes main character Garl to the Elder Mist, and everyone follows. Eagle flies to the Elder Mist, and does Valerie get her?
She flies too. She
unlocks her flying abilities and takes everybody to the Elder Mist. Garl's dying. And now comes to the Fishman's prophecy. He says, I demand the vial of last rites or something.
Of borrowed time.
Yeah, of borrowed time. from Rashawn. Rashawn says, okay, hands it to him. So Garl is fine, except he's not fine. He is alive until he fulfills his final prophecy or his final job. If he deviates from that, he instantly dies. So Garl's in constant pain, and the Elder Mist like floods his mind with everything that you have to do. So he is legit main character now, because without him, you don't know what to do. The party splits to do all the jobs. And essentially, Garl needs to wake up that dragon that you saw in the beginning of the game that's wrapped around the mine town, and turn him from evil to good. And we haven't prefaced this strong enough, but Garl is the ultimate optimistic person. Like, optimist. He's nice to everybody. He takes mean people and makes them nice. He's insufferable. Continue.
Big bread. He's the way to make the dragon be nice. Now, want to destroy the world is by baking a big ass loaf of bread, and the bread will smell really good, and that'll wake up the dragon. Dragon's gonna be like, "Wow, this is some good bread. I don't want to kill anymore."
Yep.
So,
and he says, "Now
this is where
now that I am no longer evil, I would like to take on a new name. Would you please name me Garl, the fucking warrior cook?" This is now his title, and it's like, it's at this point that I come to I flashback everything that has happened so far. It's like, this is really baby's first RPG, kind of. Like, yeah. Like, the gameplay is simplistic enough where, like, I look forward to my nephew playing this game when he starts playing video games.
He's like 10 or something.
Yeah. Maybe younger. You know, hopefully. Like, I would give this to him. Hopefully that he develops that crack addiction and doesn't become an FPS nerd. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Tony.
Please apologize to me for I play every day.
Oh god. So this is where the mole people comes back. Malco Mood is a cool guy, helps Garl flying through this. He bakes the big bread. Dragon, it works out the exact way they intend. Dragon comes out, is like, "That's some good ass bread, bro," and it works out the exact way. Now that they did that, they can, and the reason why I did this was so they spoke with like these random giants that are in the sky or something, so they could get access to the Sea of Stars. Name of the game. Woo! It's the thing that gets you.
Fucking Valerie makes a bridge over the water. That's her prophecy. Yeah. Lame as fuck. Continue.
Lame as fuck. Like, could have just gotten a bigger boat. I don't know. Or flown.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they can fly now. Like, what?
But they can't do it on command. They haven't beefed hard enough yet for that. But so they let you through to the Sea of Stars. You go to Cybertron. There's this little bit in the middle where you're like getting a speed boost and it goes 3D and you're like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then it never happens again. You get to Cybertron, which actually turns out to be Sarai's homeworld. She's a robot.
Yep, she takes off her mask. She is a Terminator. Finds out that she's half Terminator. Yeah.
You find out she's a Terminator. This whole world is like all super technological, but also completely devoid of like sunlight and all that kind of stuff, because there's a machine in the sky.
Very big Chrono Trigger vibes. Like, if you ever played Chrono Trigger,
this is the apocalyptic one.
Yeah.
And so there's this machine in the sky that's creating the clouds that are blocking out the sun. And there's a dweller that's like underground that's essentially just there, just biding his time until it becomes a world eater, because when they stick around for long enough, that's what happens. All the people in this world got turned into Terminators or robots, had all, like, their souls taken out of them and then put out of their human bodies and put into these robots. Moving forward, eventually you get to a part where you find these like the souls are still here, but they don't have like a vessel, and you find one called Bist or
BS,
something like that. Yeah, B''ST. You fight a boss in there. Rashawn is just like, "Oh, this is it."
Yeah,
And
the prophecy foretold by the hag that we met before.
Yeah.
You will find this
The
person.
living
Make
glass.
sure you give him a chance because you can finally make him one of your pet projects. Apparently, his will is so strong that he's able to do this transformation where he gives him a glass body. And he says the glass is very fragile. It's only as fragile as your will. And this guy has a will of like
An
1,000 suns or some
unbreakable
shit.
Yeah. He's cool. I like him. I like him. And he also says the thing where he also said the thing while he's working on him very briefly. He's just like, oh yeah, you know, you have to go through. You can only bring 2 of them with you. He says that, and that's it. There's no context for that. You continue onwards. Fight Birdmen. The Birdmen are they like worship the Fleshmancer.
They worship the machine that was made by Best's people. They don't know it's a machine.
okay.
They think it's a god that the Fleshmancer told them to do, to worship.
Okay, that's the cloud thing, right?
Yeah.
So you fight the Birdmen. The Birdmen know that this guy is God. The dude in your party is God. They're like, what, man? What the fuck? After we gave you wings, you're going to do us dirty like this? And he's just like,
and God has never been to this world.
God has never been to this world. And he's just like, what? And it turns out that his buddy, the Fleshmancer, whose name is like A Forel or something like that, turns out that he was a dick a lot longer than Rashawn thought he was. And he's like, I've miscalculated. Bye, and fucking just leaves and never comes back.
He leaves a body double that that fights in his place, but he doesn't talk, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, like, and that never comes up again.
Never.
So
you talking about Aferol, right? Not Rashawn.
No, Rashawn. When he leaves, because he's like, oh hey, my buddy was a dick a lot longer than I thought it was. I need to think about this. And then he leaves. Deuces. Goodbye. I'm going to see you for 5 seconds in the ending cutscene, and that's it. So you're never going to explain what the fuck you were doing. Yep. So
that was a bit open-ended. I did not care for that.
So there's, I don't know what, because it kind of comes back in a way, but it's not. No. So from there, you go to this thing in the sky that's making the clouds. You destroy it. So now you let the sun in. You're able to kill the dweller. After you kill the dweller, you can then take on. You get the power to fly, and you could go to the Fleshmancer's castle. We're at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So you go through the Fleshmancer's castle, speeding through that shit.
Yeah. You fight Frankenstein, and you fight a mind monster, and then
the monster that like moved all. It's the one who moved all the souls from the bodies to the robots.
Yeah.
You get to the end.
Sarai's arc. She gets her revenge. Pretty much.
You get to the end, and you get to the top. You know, also at this point, Shasei, after Garl baked the bread, he kicked the bucket. Like
Garl's been dead. Garl's been dead.
Facebook official.
Yeah.
He is actually dead.
Main character's dead.
Yeah, main character's dead. So you get to the end, and the Fleshmancer's there, and he's just like, you know, your character's just like, stop right there, mister. And he's just like, you guys suck. I'm not fighting you. And he leaves. And they just watch it happen, and they let him leave. And then you fight Supercharged Erlina. Brugo Chavez is nowhere to be found. They make note like, oh, hey, this guy's fast. And it turns out that Brugo Chavez is a character in The Messenger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it turns out he's one of the bad guys in The Messenger. So, you know,
also they alluded to when you're killing the soul transfer demon, like he was it alluded to bringing out Brugo Chavez because he's the fastest thing, but you kill the Soul Reaper before it can come out.
And it turns out he's in The Messenger because the developer did state that it's a shared universe.
Okay.
So you fight Supercharged Erlina, and the credits roll. You beat the game. You did it. That's the end.
That's what I got.
Yep. You go, or once you beat her, you like fucking, you know, Zale and Valera like Shopee, and they fly up, and all of a sudden it becomes fucking like Ikaruga, you know, the fucking like the bullet hell game where you could be 2 different colors. it becomes that, and you shoot down the World Eater. It turned out that the Dweller of Strife became a World Eater, which it turns out that the Dweller of Strife combined with those 4 fiends, as you say, or those dudes to form this World Eater thing. Yeah, and you just go into like some random like bullet hell side scroller thing and kill this thing, and the credits roll, and you kind of see where everyone is. Except at the end, you get a little bit where they're like, "Oh, hey, it was like the end of the crypt, and there was a thing there, and they're like, "Oh, is it done?" It's like, "Yeah, I think it's done," and then it just says the end.
Yeah, question mark. And then that's when I went to YouTube, and I was like, we're recording the episode in half an hour. I finished a half an hour ago.
Fucking 2.5 hours now.
About 2.5 hours now. And then I looked at YouTube for the true ending, and I was like, I'm missing a lot of context here.
So
Go ahead. Tell me.
So when you beat the game, it shows this this spot where there's the circle of stones that are glowing, depending if you did any side shit. If you go to that spot, it looks like, so there's a stone with this like purple gem type shit in the middle, and then like 5 or 6 stones circling or like filling in the rest of the circle. When you interact with each stone, screen face of black and shows an NPC.
Okay.
And each one, so that like when I beat the game, 3 or 4 of them were already lit.
Was this like when you beat the game, are you able to go into like an open world thing where like
yeah, you can keep doing it, you keep playing.
Okay.
So it turns out like and like I'm for the most part I did all this without using a guide except for one of them, which is so each of them is for a party member. Essentially, each of them has a side quest to fight an optional boss. You do that. So for Zale and Valere, they have one. I could be forgetting one, but they have one where, like you could go around the map, and now that you can fly around, you can interact with shrines. When you interact with the shrines, it opens up this gateway that was kind of at the beginning of the game. You go through there, you fight the Elder Mist again.
Okay.
And he's supercharged, and it was the hardest boss fight in the game for me.
No.
You kick his ass. He gives you the best weapons for Zale and Valere. Essentially, each of these side missions gives you the best gear for your characters, for each character.
Right. Except for Grawl, because he's dead.
So, so that's Zale and Valere's quest. Then Rashawn has a quest where you go underwater. So when you're using the boat in the overworld on your starting world, the original one, you'll see these things that look like you can move the light around, like the sunlight around.
Right.
And so there are 4 of those. You do 4 of them. You fight you remember the slug worm thing, the cave worm from the beginning of the game?
Yeah.
Yes.
You fight
Chrono
another
Trigger
one
final
underwater.
boss?
Yeah, the Chrono Trigger final boss.
Okay.
You fight another one, it's just palette swapped. There's an achievement saying, haha, that's palette swap. You fight it, it's a lot harder. You get Rashawn's best weapon. And for who the fuck? For Sarai, you have to go. Hers was the coolest one because essentially you had to go and listen to a story that Teeks was telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of had to like discern where to go in that desert where you had to go in like a bunch of directions.
Oh, yeah.
And you find her optional boss, which was like some gun hand. I don't know what's it called. It was weird. And the reason why you would never know about these quests, specifically for Sarai and Bist, is because, at least in Sarai's case specifically, you start the quest by talking to them at camp.
Oh.
Jesus.
And so it was after I got the credits roll, I was just like, man, how the fuck do I do these guys' stuff? And I decided to camp one night just to make poutine, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk with people, and then they told me they want to do shit. I'm like, what?
Damn, boy,
I was right.
I missed that. Yeah,
I didn't know I was right, but I was
in
right.
plain sight.
Fuck.
And Bist, all he wants to do is become really, really strong. So that means that it turns out that in Brisk, now that by the end of the game, the city's been repaired, and there's a combat, like a gladiator arena there. Huh. And so you need to do all the arena fights for him. There's one more NPC. One more. The Rainbow Conch motherfucking You need to get all 60 rainbow conches.
Okay.
All 60 rainbow conches. What to do? What? You do all the stuff, and then it turns out that stone that had the gem in the middle is like, I forgot what it's called, like the Chrono phage or something like that.
Okay.
It's a portal back in time to go, and Bist knew about it. So there's that bit where this guy was giving Bist his body, and he's like, oh, only 2 of them could go in with you. He's like, yeah. It turns out they were leading up to this, so they could go back in time and save Carl with a G. And this shit does not make any fucking sense.
Okay.
Why do I have to collect 60 rainbow conches to do this? What does fighting all of these random optional bosses have to do with this? You know what they tell you? Bist is like, oh yeah, Rashawn just wanted to make sure that you guys were ready, to save your friend that fucking died.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that. Yeah, I'll take the first ending. I'm fine.
So you go back and you save Garl in a way that's definitely not fucking time paradox. Essentially, you just pull Garl out of the spot where he was gonna get shot, and Bist, who has an unbreakable will, can take the shot. So he stands in Garl's place, and somehow that doesn't cause problems. So
but the only reason Garl knew about all those prophecies because he was on the cusp of dying. The Elder Mist gave him all those visions.
So you save Garl.
Okay.
You save Garl. Garl's like, man, I was waiting for you guys. Like, he knew the whole time he was going to be saved. And so then so he's like, I don't know what we were supposed to do, but I got this fishing hook.
I missed some context. Oh yeah, keep going.
I am giving you the context.
No, yeah, we're not missing any context.
This is the context. So I could be missing something, but the thing is that I'm going off what the game gave me, right?
Gotcha.
So he's like, here's this hook. It's the hook of time. I'm like, instantly knew where to use it. There's an island where it has a fishing pond with no fish in it. I went there, it had a little glowing bit on it. You fish it out. It's an entrance to a cave. You go in there. There's a fucking like a fish with a cigar, big ass fish with a cigar at the end. And he's just like, hey, so you looking for a reservation at a restaurant? So there's a restaurant in Brisk called the fucking, I don't know.
That fucking restaurant that you can't get a reservation in? They kick you out all the time?
Golden Corral.
Yeah, the one that's all the way up at the top. Yeah, I remember that fucking restaurant.
That's so whack.
So okay. Yeah, it's that one. And so I was like, oh, you looking for, or like, what do you want, kid? And Carl's like, I want a reservation for Golden Corral. So he's like, I'm the chef at Golden Corral. I could give you a ticket in there. And the fact that you got here means that you must have died and then got the hook of time from the afterlife and then came here and fished me out of this pond just so I could give you a reservation.
If there are
so
other people in that restaurant, I will be upset.
Bullshit.
Are there other people in the restaurant?
There were not.
Okay,
not that I saw.
Okay, all right.
There were not. So you gotta. So essentially, in order to eat at a Golden Corral and fucking see his stars, you gotta die. Kiss someone's ass in the afterlife, so they could give you a fishing hook, so you can fish out a fucking. And it's like, and so you fish it. So you get it out. Girl's like, hey, we're gonna have a dinner. I want to have a dinner with all of our friends. So you get the whole gang, like all the NPCs that you were cool with, like Malcolm Mood, Moraine, and your party. I forget who else was there. So the pirates, including Keenathan, best name ever. So you have dinner with them, and they're like, all right, that's it. What? All right, you go to the end of the game. This is how 8 out of 10. I like this game, but still, this was really stupid. This was so stupid. It's an RPG, and you keep seeing the story, and I can't help it. You go do the end of the game, and you get there, and the Fleshmancer's just like, Solstice Warriors, you guys suck. I don't fight you. Garl's just like, apple. He throws an apple at his head, and then he's like, I will fight you now.
Wow.
I don't know what song I'm listening to right now, but it sucks ass. I need to change it.
Garl comes out and says, bitch. And he's like...
Once again, Garl is the only guy who does anything. And what triggered the Fleshmancer to fight you guys was getting an apple thrown at him. Which means that Zaylor Valaire, you're 2 walking blocks of fucking like unsalted crackers going around, couldn't even go, hey guys, you think... we want to fight you. Like the original time he said, I don't fight Solstice Wars and left. Imagine if he said, I don't fight Solstice Wars and they just threw a fucking like an apple at him. Go, no, bitch, yeah, you do now. And that's it. That's it. Oh my God. So he throws an apple at him. He's just like, you're a meanie. And then, okay, I'm going to fight you. You fight him and you kick his ass. You don't kill him. What happens afterwards is right when you're about to kick his ass or finish the job, Rashawn comes through a portal and he's just like, that'll do, pig. They walk through, everyone nods, and that's it.
That's the end?
That's the end. Well, I mean, that's
Wait,
like
what's the difference between the original ending and this ending?
You get to keep Garl. That's it.
You get to keep Garl. You get to keep Garl and totally not destroy the fucking timeline somehow. I don't know. But then afterwards, the ending bits where it shows like the Where Are They Now characters, instead of the Zale and Valera visiting on his birthday every year to, in honor of his death, they visit him once a year for his birthday to say what up. And so the game ends with him like Garl is now the town chieftain and they're the starting town.
Yeah.
And he's there cooking dinner, and then Zale and Valera showed up, and they haven't aged a bit, and he's just like, bring it in, and they hug, and they're about to hug, and that's the end of the game. So it's like cute, and
the Flashmancer is not taken care of.
Well, yeah, he was taken care of. That'll do, pig. That'll do. And that's it.
Does he turn into a good guy? Do we beat him into good guy territory?
All you get is that Rashawn shows up, puts his hand on his shoulder, he nods, everyone in the party's like, and they walk off through a portal. I guess insinuating, or not insinuating, but I guess assuming that like now that him and Rashawn, like the two of them are walking through the portal together, he's just like, okay, all right, okay. And that's, like, I'm done being a dickhead. I don't know. The thing is that, like, it...
I'm going to have to look something up about that, because that's just stupid.
Look, do you doubt me?
No. I'm talking about, like, the meaning of what was going on or why they did. Like, not doubting what you're saying.
No, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, it's that was...
And, like, I don't get why... collecting 60 rainbow conches has fucking anything to do with whether or not I want to save my friend's life.
It's a thing. It's like in RPGs you collect the secret items, and when you find them you get the true ending. I know it has nothing. Yeah, but it's like it has nothing to do with anything. That specific, like, there's a lot of shit that is kiddie about this game. But that specifically is like, that's a grievance across a lot of other RPG games. You gotta get the random items that you find across the game to get the true ending. It was like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but that one's completely inconsequential. Like I haven't played Chrono Trigger. I've seen a lot about it. And Chrono Trigger, thing is that you have an action, like you do a thing in a game that has consequences in the future.
Yeah.
That's like the thing with that game. That, at least from what I can gather. I haven't played it, but still.
I love Chrono Trigger. Okay.
That is the thing. Your actions have consequences in that game. In this game, you are along for the ride. It is kind of linear, but the thing is just like, and it's good. It's good. 8 out of 10. But the thing is just like, the thing is just that when the story's so front and center, I can't pick up what you're putting down when what you're putting down is just like fucking stupid. It's hard. It's hard. The thing is that playing the game is fun, and when I was into it, I had like total neckbeard fucking, like, I did not shave gaming sessions just playing that game until I the same for getting the true ending. I was like, I'm not gonna look this up on the internet. Once I had come to the conclusion that I needed to get all conches, then I looked up a conch collection guide. That's all. But like, it's so dumb.
That type of, like, that reminds me, Sally, you remember the Stardust bullshit? Stardust in Legend of the Dragon, where you had to get a certain amount of Stardust to actually play against Faust.
Yeah,
that was an optional boss.
Yeah.
Optional. You should do, if you want to do stuff like that.
I don't know what to tell you.
The ending, you don't do shit like that with finding stuff to get a
Yeah,
to get
like
the actual true ending. That's not I know the ending is optional, but that's
a true ending.
What they suppose a true ending.
And like the thing is that all the other stuff that they want you to do for the true ending, like fighting these optional bosses, which are like essentially each of the party members are like fulfilling their goals, I guess. Like I guess sure, but what does collecting 60 rainbow conchas have to do with fucking anything? Your last reward for the rainbow concha was like some I don't even fucking know, man.
Yeah, because it was 50 Stardust too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
again,
that's
I think that like is a theme across a lot of RPGs where you collect the random shit that has nothing to do with really anything to find the optional thing. But
not the main thing.
There's a couple of them where you need to get collections to get unlock the true ending. Like
it shouldn't be like that.
Go on.
I can see you doing weapons or armor and shit like that. The point is, like,
yeah, it shouldn't be like that, but it is like that. And this game is a complete homage to everything that we grew up with.
Yep.
So I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying we should give it a pass, but also like give it in context of like they've been doing this for longer than we've been alive.
Understand?
This type of shit.
That's trash.
It's trash. It's objectively trash. The thing is that in other games where you have to collect the random fucking thing to get the ending, usually somehow that random thing somehow becomes important.
Yeah.
Right? Like you collect the thing and somehow like all of a sudden it becomes important. Is anything coming to my head right now? Not really, but like like that thing becomes like, oh shit, hey, you have all the pieces of the armor that you didn't really need, but now you have it, and it's like this armor saves your life or some shit. Like that's an example. This literally has nothing to do with anything. Like that's the problem. That's the problem I had with doing that particularly or specifically. But even then, I think as a whole, just that sequence of events was so fucking contrived, and like, how am I supposed to not? How do you replace Garo and somehow that doesn't just like destroy the fucking timeline as we know it? I don't get it. But whatever.
I would say like in context of everything, the way the writing is, the way the story is, like again, like the word that comes to my mind that I was going through when I was playing the whole thing, baby's first RPG.
Yeah.
The combat is easy enough to keep people engaged. Not just that, you know, RPG turn-based stuff. Yeah. Easy to, and it keeps your focus.
Complex, yeah.
Because you can do actions during it. So it's not like a true turn-based RPG type thing. Like you have to be interactive RPG, right? So like Paper Mario type shit, right? That's where they got the inspiration from. It's very accessible, right? It's an accessible RPG.
Yeah.
It's not a deep mechanic system, but what sucks, like now I assume we're done with
I'm done.
Now we're just talking shit. We can talk about the
gameplay.
Yeah, the problem that always came out to me, like I keep looking back, is like it's a simplistic mechanic. It took so long for them to delve out everything over the intro bit. And I'm like, a game that came out around the same time and gets compared a lot. And I like, they get compared, but maybe they shouldn't be because they're kind of really different RPGs, is Chained Echoes. And I played Chained Echoes. I haven't finished it. I played it before this one. I wanted to finish that one before this one because like the perception online that I saw was Sea of Stars is, you know, fucking buttered toast and Chained Echoes is toast, right? As good as Chained Echoes is. But I gotta say, the intro to Chained Echoes is a million times better than the intro to Sea of Stars. And like for me personally, the systems in place, there's a lot more complexity to Chained Echoes, but you know, you don't have the interactive to keep your attention type thing. It's more of a traditional turn-based RPG with a lot of stats and all that shit. So like again, I don't think they should be, but they have been, and that's why I'm bringing it up compared.
That's the thing about the gameplay that I like the lock system in general, and I like the combat. Like the combat in this game, and just like constantly, you know, going and exploring new places. There's an insane variety of locations, an insane variety of enemies. Like and how they keep building on that lock system is what like really kept me going. I've only ever played the first 25 minutes of Chained Echoes. It is like shit stomps this game's intro by a country mile. but like, not even just like that small comparison aside, I think the combat as a whole is really fun. I did kind of, especially like in my case specifically, since I went through and I just never died, I felt like once I solved it, that was like a solution
to everything.
To everything.
Yeah.
And that solution, quite frankly, involved me being very conservative with how I had, like, it was very restrictive to the way that to the way that I'm playing. Now, is that my choice? Yes, but also, like, I want to win.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point, right? Like,
right.
I mean, to have fun,
you're
but
saving
also,
your magic and you're not dealing damage right away. You're saving them for the puzzles.
Yeah, for the locks, because, like, it gets to a point where, and especially with the optional bosses, which are actually quite threatening.
Yeah.
Where essentially the solution to like everything, once you have the party together and the game starts, like, you know, you're getting in the later half, is never use your combos. Just keep attacking and leave as many balls you can leave up to 3 balls on the floor for you to absorb. Just leave them there.
Right.
Just leave them there. And have Sarai with her fucking godlike foot.
Yeah. And anytime you see a puzzle that you can't solve, the answer is
in
Sarai.
one turn is the foot. Is the foot.
Yes.
The answer is the foot.
She prolongs the enemy's actions
by kicking them. Yes.
Yeah. And so that's, if you see an enemy, especially like when you fight what's his face at the end, the Fleshmancer guy, we fight him at the end, you see his thing, it's like one turn, foot, fucking foot.
Yo, the level, the level up thing. So I'll talk about the level up. I want to talk about the level up thing, but specifically the level up thing, I put every time there's a magic option, +1, I put it on Sarai. And by the end of that, I, like, every boss battle, I as soon as I took out like the other 2 enemies or their sympathetic enemies that make them vulnerable, Sarai just went in kick. I had one up to like 12 turns because I could do 3 kicks in a row with the amount of magic that I had. And I just mollywopped the shit out of them. And like,
you always had a foot in the chamber.
Level up system.
Inconsequential.
I don't think, inconsequential. I like, my favorite thing about the level up system is how it looks. The screen that comes up is cool as fuck. The song that plays while you're leveling up, I think, is one of 2 of the best songs in the game. It's just cool as fuck.
I think they took the level up system from Paper Mario. Paper Mario does the same thing.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Where you select the stat thing. Just the thing with this game is that, like, leveling up doesn't matter. I mean, you can select.
I mean, other than the health, maybe.
But things that leveling up brings your stats up.
Yeah, you get a base level up and you choose an extra stat.
Extra level.
Like,
but it kind of doesn't matter.
Those extra stats don't matter. You level up as much as you need already, you know?
Yeah, like the leveling up in that game is so heavily, like, I don't know, chaperoned, I guess.
Yeah. But also
you can't grind.
Like the interview I saw, like the main concept of the game is they don't want people grinding to level up. They want them playing through the story.
Yeah.
And they succeeded in that.
You don't need a level up system.
Yeah. So like intended, made and played as intended. I have no gripes with the level up system. That's the way they made it. It's inconsequential.
It's just armchair design.
And it's cool. It's cool. I really like the visual. The visuals across the board are awesome. And even the stuff that irks me, the visuals at that time are fantastic.
Yeah. It was just, it's pretty inconsequential. Like, I mean, it's armchair design at this point, but like, I guess it got to a point where I was kind of thinking like, oh man, when I level up, should I select MP every time? And I just stopped doing it to see how things would go.
You can only max out MP so much. Like you can
eventually it limits what you can pick from.
It limits what you pick from. If you choose, I think it's like 10 of the same thing after every time, you just can't pick that past level 11 or something.
And like that was, I mean, that's kind of like a whatever gripe. I think just really the biggest problem is like just like once again when it felt like I solved the game, then every fight played out the same exact way. And like having to constantly be restricted, especially because some of the lock combinations require you to have combo meter. So if you blast your combo meter on someone else to do an attack, and like, hell yeah, I did damage.
You're gonna get hit by everything.
And there are times like where you just start, where you're forced into combat. You don't even have the a chance to get orbs when you start, like pre-attack, where they start up a combo and it's like, there's no way you can do that. There's nothing you can do. You just got to eat it. That, like, it never made me die. It never led to my failure.
But it was annoying.
But it's just shitty feeling, you know, like there's nothing I could do.
But if you
at this
get
point.
the hit first, you get a hit in first, other than bosses, but if you get a hit in first, you would always have orbs on the field.
It was
to
never a problem when you
combo
get a hit in first. But there are situations where a cutscene plays and you get jumped by these enemies, and then they fucking
like you didn't have a chance.
Yeah, all four of them come up with a combo magic meter. I'm like,
okay. It's just like, you know, I'm gonna live. Like we're fine. It's just that this seems like, it's just a shitty feeling. There's no other way to put it. Like at the end of the day, it's the same as it's kind of the same as a leveling up system where it just feels like what's the point of it? But you know, at the end of the day, it's inoffensive. And that's the same thing with this. Is that like it's kind of a shitty feeling, but at the end of the day, it's like kind of inoffensive. Yeah. I just felt like in terms, but it just more that, but also, you know, it kind of starts becoming offensive once you really start restricting the way that you're playing to make sure that you always have an answer to the solution.
Yeah.
Which is like,
yeah, continue. Sorry.
Which really just boils down to like, I'm not casting magic because I'm trying to hold on to MP to make sure I have a spell or a foot in the chamber. And then, or I'm sitting on combo meter because combo meter, like they're just combination shit that only a combo attack can address. And that like for every single optional boss, that's exactly how it played out. There was a lot of feet going around. So what are you going to say?
We didn't talk about relics. There are items in the game. They're just as a side as the final thing. I don't think there's much more to talk about. There's 2 relics you start out with in the beginning of the game. They're items. One is to make the game easy. It makes your health go full after every encounter, and then there's one that makes it hard mode, which every enemy has 35% more damage, and you have minus something health. And then Fist found one later on in the game that makes it even worse, where you get like 5 health or 8 health or something.
5.
And you have to do perfect guards. Or and every time you do a perfect guard, it only does 1 damage. But if you don't do a perfect guard, you die instantly. It does like regular damage.
Which will
so I'm not going to do that. But you know, if you really like the game, go ahead.
Yeah, I really like that. I don't know if it's something I'd really go back to.
No.
It's hard to say right now.
And there are other relics you can buy during the game. One that gives like 10% discounts.
I think the replay value on this game is not as good as I thought, because when we brought up going back to play it again, I was just like, After I've already beaten it, I was just like, I don't know.
At the most I would continue, because you can continue and find all the conches, the rainbow,
all the optional bosses.
And all the optional bosses, and I'll go back and do the tabletop game and beat the fucking watchmaker.
I don't know about
but
all that.
I wouldn't replay the game completely.
Nah, not
really.
and
then there's certain RPGs that you just like. It's hard to go back and play.
Yeah, RPGs are hard to replay in general, but this one I would say is on the harder end to like really go back to
really do it, because it's so heavily. I don't know, like chaperone is the word I keep thinking of, but like it's so very linear, regimented, and linear. Even though it's like technically not linear.
I feel like this RPG kind of dragged a little bit in certain areas. Just depending on the area, I feel like it dragged in certain areas.
Yeah, maybe
if I go back and play it again, not originally because you don't know the plot, but the first playthrough, like I feel like it was fine, but going back to try it again, I feel like it'll drag a little bit.
It was those first 8 hours for me that really were just like chapping my ass hard. that was so boring. But like, which also as an aside, saying the first 8 hours of a game is boring is pretty bad. But
Yeah,
like,
but we are.
I feel like once it started going,
Yeah.
what?
But you play Final Fantasy Online, so
Yeah, I have 1,000 hours in that game.
yeah, we have,
Yeah, the thing is that like it's so it's like linear in like many different ways. Like the stories, obviously, stories doesn't follow the same route. Every JRPG does that. Tell me I'm wrong. Like every JRPG does that pretty much. So like, or most of them, I should say, like especially the classic ones. So it's linear in that sense. Progression is incredibly linear. You will always be doing the same things at the same time. It's not the same as if like I played Final Fantasy X again and decided to just like play with the expert sphere grid. So like Auron's my caster. I have a playthrough that has a bunch of casters or a bunch of melee dudes like that. That would change shit.
Yeah,
that would change things. Like it would still be overall Final Fantasy X is a very, very linear game, but that in itself would at least give me a different experience. Yeah. I could try and play through the game and grind less. That is a different experience. This game will always be the same thing practically every time unless I use those difficulty modifiers. But the thing with the difficulty modifiers is that I feel like it's kind of like either you have your game regularly or you have it in your ass. And like, I don't know if I really wanted that bad.
It's not a progression where it's like, oh, it goes from normal to hard mode to very hard mode. It's just all the modifiers give you hard mode or super baby soft easy mode.
Like, I would not be surprised if I said the things I said about like the foot, even with like you guys with the foot. And for people who've done all the shit in the game to say that they did the exact same shit that I did.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be surprised. Just because, like, it seems like that is the way to play it.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to, like, I guarantee if, like, somebody who played, once again, Final Fantasy X would not, maybe they would not have used Lulu as much or some shit. They would have found a way around that. They didn't fuck with Auron like that. Or, I don't know. Just things like that. Just small things, but, like, I guess it's, like, player expression.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but like, for that ride, those like 34 hours or so that I played the game for to get the true ending, I mean, all bitching aside, I had a great time.
Oh yeah, great time.
I had a great time.
Again,
aside from collecting the conches.
8 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
8 out of 10. As much as
8 out of 10.
As much as
it seems
like we're talking shit, ragging on it, bringing it down. This game is a ride.
It's just it's more fun. Than like the conversation surrounding the game, or like the zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it, is like so like circle jerky.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
like this game is because it's good, but it's not like it's not that.
Yeah, because like when I played Chained Echoes, I was like, this is the pinnacle of this type of game, right? The movement around the overworld and the movement in general is snappy. It doesn't lag behind because you're running it on like a 4-bit Super Nintendo or some shit. And the decisions are streamlined. You get into combat right away. All that. It's like every time. What do you call it? What do you call it when you make something better?
Iterate or something.
Iterate. Yeah, it's like this is the ultimate iteration of everything, every mechanic, every time. And Sea of Stars kind of does the same thing, where it's like this is also the pinnacle of where this type of game gets to. But it's like, again, this type of RPG is a beginner's intro to RPG. It'll be it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah, because like the gameplay, the systems are approachable.
Yeah,
but there's enough depth and like challenge in the game to, like if you're like 10 or something, like if you were us when, maybe we might have played like Final Fantasy 7 or something like that, or that's a bit much, but like Super Mario RPG, that I didn't play that when I was a kid or ever.
I played Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, or like Chrono Trigger, but for people, what I really think is like for kids, when we were kids and we played like Paper Mario or Super Mario RPG or something like that, and that game was kind of like a gateway drug into this kind of game, this genre. I could see this game being that for like 10-year-old kids nowadays.
Yep.
So that I think that's like definitely a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything about this game is a win. Like
Yeah.
Just that people that wanted to make this type of game made this game. They own the game. They're not under a big publisher. They own the rights. They don't owe it to anyone else. Like, they made a fantastic game in the game sphere that we have right now. You know, it's props to them. I'm happy they did it. It was a ride, fantastic 8 out of 10 game. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. Tony, any closing thoughts?
The game was good. I just, like I said, I don't see, well, I can't say I don't see, but the replay value for me for this game in particular, it's not there. And I'm like, after you've explained that it could be a combination of what you've already explained what that actual ending is. So with you explaining that, I have no need to go back to that game.
Especially like the Rainbow Conscious stuff.
Because it's so fucking linear, and because, you know,
I do want to go back for the optional bosses, though.
You know how like Final Fantasy X has multiple characters, right? Where you can just play with whatever you want throughout the whole game, for the most part. Until you know, we are. This game, it puts you in situations where all of the characters are needed in a sense because it's linear. So it's like I have no want or need to actually go back and play it, because it's not like I'm feeling like I missed out on anything, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? But for instance, I beat a game with, you got 12 characters, and they only allow you to play with 4. I played through the whole game with those 4 characters, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I wonder. I'm gonna challenge myself. Let me play with these characters to see what moves they had when I get them all the way to level 50 or 75 or whatever the fucking level is. I think this game is great. I was really blown away by the fact that it's an indie company that made it. I agree that it is an 8. I will say that for the first playthrough, I was shocked by a lot of the little things that was coming up, and little things that I'm glad we have these discussions, because at the end of the day, kind of brought to my attention that Garl is, he was the main fucking character, bro.
Even in death.
Like when y'all brought it up that way, and I had to sit here and just consider it for a second. It's like, holy shit.
Especially because like you don't actually fight the main antagonist until Garl throws a fucking apple at him.
And he's the protagonist. So that made 100% sense. I get exactly where you're coming from.
But you're gonna fight me.
I did feel like there were certain areas where I was like, man, I don't feel like fighting this shit. Like,
I hate there's no run away.
I was just like, bro, that really grinded my gears to be like, I cannot run away from this motherfucker. Like, what the fuck? I have to fight. That's annoying.
Yeah, I just other than that, save point, bro.
Other than that, everything else was smooth sailing. I actually enjoyed the game. I agree, 8 out of 10. Highly would recommend it for anybody that hasn't played it yet. Yes.
Cool. Yep. Most definitely.
Take us out.
So, Snarf, where can they find you?
Here and on FistTruck TV, where you will not see a gameplay of Mad Mullet Jack.
Mullet Mad Jack.
Because somebody fucked up the recording.
Damn.
And that was like, you had to capture the experience for the first time of me playing it.
Yeah.
If I did it again, it wouldn't have been the same. And it's like that. Oh well.
Play the game on your own terms now.
Where can they find you, FistTruck?
You motherfucker. Whatever. You can find me here, FistTruck TV and FistTruck, my main channel. And lastly, Tony.
They can find me at HeyyyyyTony on Twitch, Hey with 5 Ys, Tony, Tony, and on YouTube as well. But I probably won't be posting that. Just let's forget about YouTube. Just come to Twitch.
Twitch it is.
Yeah, Twitch it is.
All right. So until next time, I don't know what our next game is, but
we will figure that out. Who's next? Is it me or Solid?
It's
Solid.
me,
Fucking
motherfuckers.
Solid.
And
It's
you know
fucking
what's coming
solid.
out next week.
Goddamn Destiny.
that I got.
That he won a raffle for.
Who run away? Oh, congratulations.
So until next time, it's been cool. Bye. That's it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.